Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Planet Zoo video. In today's video we're going to be spinning a wheel to first decide which DLC we're going to be playing in, and then to decide which animals go in what order from that exact same DLC. We're going to be spinning the wheel to decide their order. If you guys missed the last video, we did Southeast Asia, so that was their first spin the wheel that we did. This will be a brand new one, so leave a like for the video. Let's get this one to 500 likes to keep this going. If you guys also wouldn't mind subscribing, we are so close to 60,000. I definitely appreciate your support. So without further ado, grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, and let's spin the wheel. Alright everyone, welcome back to another Planet Zoo Spin the Wheel video. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel to decide which DLC we're going to be playing in today. Alright, let's see. We got Asia, Europe. Okay, looks like Europe is the DLC of choice today. Let's jump back into the game and see how this turns out. Alright everyone, welcome to Europe. So we are in obviously the European map today. Let's jump into our wheel spin to find out what our first animal is today. Alright, so we got about 5 brand new animals here to kind of play with. So we got our Alpine Ibex, Eurasian Lynx, European Fallow Deer, European Badger, and Fire Salamander. So that is very, very cool. Let's spin to see which one we get first. And it's kind of sucks we only got 5 to kind of play with here. We might have to add maybe 1 or 2. Let's kind of see. So first we get Alpine Ibex, it looks like. So I have no sweet clue what that thing even is. Okay, so we have the Alpine Ibex to play with. What a gorgeous map. You kind of got the European fields in the background. Very, very nice. And we also have lots of cool buildings to play with, like our European buildings here. You can kind of play with that a little bit, and this is actually so cool. So there's tons of options for us. And with the Southeast Asia one that we had, I don't think there's a whole lot of buildings for us to really play with. This time around, we got tons of new stuff. Like, look at all these. That is so cool. You got a little fountain in there. So we have lots to play with today. Let's get started with a little path. And obviously we have a few things to get. I think I kind of clicked on some of them, so they will appear. So Trade Center, Staff Room, Vet Surgery. So let's get a couple of those kind of set up. As far as our paths, let's kind of figure out what we want to do with this. Now we could probably either go with what we have here and kind of just double click on that. We could probably do something like that. That looks a little bit weird. Let's actually go a little bit wider here. And I kind of want to stick with the same width as it comes out like that. So maybe like a 7. I feel like, yeah, that would actually look pretty good. So let's just come straight out. Maybe a couple of those, and then I could kind of do, what do I want to do with this? I could probably come off of here and kind of have my staff center kind of over here, because we do want to stay a little bit closer to where we have our power. So you can kind of see our power grid here, and that is going to be pretty important to kind of stay within. So let's just kind of go straight out and have a nice kind of border or starting point. I think that'll be good. And let's maybe go with like a 5 for our width going over here. So I'm probably going to come right off of here, kind of just like this, and then I could kind of start coming out, and then I can make a little bit of room for some of these buildings, kind of just in this area. I feel like this would be kind of a nice little spot for that, and I could maybe even hide it with something in here, maybe like a big rock or some kind of cool display. So that's good. Let's go to our facilities and see what we can come up with. So we are with the Europe pack. That's going to be absolutely amazing for us to get. We also have this like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. How do you even make that work? Obviously, I'd have to put some water or something. Well, I might have to play around with that a little bit. Got some food trucks. So let's maybe go with a European Keeper Hut large. And this could probably go kind of right in where the trees are. Kind of just like that. And then I might angle it a little bit here. Might as well put it kind of on an angle. I kind of like the idea of doing this. It doesn't need to be perfectly adjacent to the path, so I think that's a nice little spot. Campaigner, whatever that means. Let me know, all my European viewers, definitely let me know what some of these words mean. I simply just do not know. So that'll be kind of cool. Let me know in the comments. So we have that. That is our Keeper Hut. We need to get a couple of other things. Got our European bin, stagecoach. We need a staff room. So we have this staff room large. This thing is definitely huge. That's kind of crazy, actually. What do I want to do with this? I'll probably like spin it around. I wouldn't mind having this a little bit on display here. Like I could probably put this right on the corner. I feel like that's pretty cool. And then it's nice and flush with that. That's absolutely gorgeous. Actually, what I might do, what does a small one look like? This might be a little bit more manageable, maybe. No, I gotta go with the big one, but I'm gonna leave a little bit more room beside it. Maybe to put a couple of trees. I think I'm gonna do something like that. And then I could put a couple of trees along here. In fact, let's maybe look at that. Let's maybe do the same kind of thing. So let's go by continent, Europe, and then we can use all of the trees and plants in our beautiful Europe. So we got some apple trees. I feel like that would be kind of cool. So let's maybe go with like, also have these bigger ones maybe. I could probably have like a big apple tree in here, but let's maybe go with some smaller ones until I at least find something I like a little bit better. We can kind of spin these around. Let's make sure they're nice and spaced out. I feel like that looks pretty good. And then over here, I could do some kind of cool display. You got these trees were actually pretty cool. Maybe like one of these trees. I feel like when you're walking under it, that looks epic. Let's maybe do something like that. I don't want to hide this too much. And in fact, that kind of morphs into our building a little bit. Look at this. You got like some cracking here. Tons of detail with these buildings. Very, very cool. So I feel like this could maybe be a little bit better. I don't want it to go into our building. That's a little bit smaller. Let's maybe move it over a tiny bit, a little bit more centered. I feel like that looks pretty good. And then if there's like some cooler trees, I'd love to... Okay, that is a no-brainer. So I'm actually going to get rid of these trees. And I am going to put some... Look, I even hearted it from a previous build. That's kind of cool. So I want this to be relatively far away just so it doesn't really morph into there. So I think that should look good. Let's maybe put one there, one over there, and then one kind of spaced out nicely just like that. That looks absolutely amazing. And I'm actually going to adjust our time of year here if I can. Let's maybe put it to like 1500, around 3 o'clock p.m. That should be pretty good. And do a little bit of snow, cloudy. Let's just kind of keep it nice and sunny. I feel like that is a nice little preset. So we can actually see this all the time. That is super cool. And in fact, I might even do something cool like this. Have a little path kind of going around back. Could I maybe connect it to there? I think I can. And if I could maybe connect it just so there's like kind of a triangle built up in this little area. That's actually pretty cool. And then I could probably put something here, maybe another tree or something. Let's see what we could do with that. Fallen tree or something. I don't really know. We have this like common ash tree and I feel like that might be kind of cool. Let's maybe put that right on the corner. Right there. I think that actually looks pretty sweet. And then I could probably even build up around it a little bit. Let's maybe get some, oh, I also have these, so conservation packs expansions. So that is all of that. But I would like just plants right now. I think, yeah, maybe rocks actually maybe be kind of cool. We're in the temperate place, so we got some taiga rocks. Maybe something like that, and it's kind of growing out of the rock. I think that'd be kind of cool. And then if we go back to our plants, we can maybe decorate this. Maybe just with like some grass or something might be kind of cool. This would actually be kind of cool if I put it on like a corner. You know, I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to get rid of this rock. And first, I'm actually going to clean this up. I'm just going to get some short grass in here. That's long grass is really throwing me off. As well as over here, we need to cut some grass. Let's get the lawnmower out here. And we can cut some of this grass, especially where it looks nice. Let's maybe do something like that. And then hoover as well. Trim in between the trees, get the trimmer. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to do kind of what I was just about to do. I feel like that would look super cool. So let's go back. I kind of had these nice hedges and I think I could probably even match it. Now the question is, do I want to have this one? Yeah, I think I do. I'll have it like right on the corner. Okay, I think that should actually be good. Let's throw that in there. That's pretty satisfying, I'm not gonna lie. And then we could get these nice big hedges and they kind of got like roots coming out of them. Let's make sure we match this up nice and level. Put that about right there. And then we can kind of just make this as perfect as possible. Kind of do something like this. And then I can kind of start angling it this way a tiny bit. And if I could even get a smaller one, that'd be kind of nice. But I think this is actually going to look pretty nice. This is even in the main part of the zoo. Like these are just hedges that we're throwing in here. And I might have to adjust them a little bit more, but this should look pretty good all the way to the end. And let's kind of throw that in. So see how that looks. That hedge turned out a lot better than the other one. So I might have to adjust some of these. You think that looks a little bit better? Oh yeah, that's a much better hedge. That immediately looks better. And then I might have to center my tree a little bit more here. Let's see if we can center that. Oh, like that should look pretty good. And then maybe like some nice flowers. I could even keep this nicely cut, but we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. I think that should be a nice little start. I could obviously get like a little bush in here maybe just to kind of tie this together a little bit. Maybe something like that as well. And then maybe like, I might put a couple of rocks in here just to add a little bit of personality to this. Let's see what we can do. Maybe kind of just some rocks. And honestly, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to keep the rest grass. So that is a nice little start for that. So we got our European staff room. So let's kind of continue on with this. So we need a research center, and let's obviously get a large one. Oh, all of these I'd love to just keep like right out like this. This would be such a nice entrance, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, let's maybe do that. I don't think it would be so bad to hide this, or to not hide it, sorry. So I'm just gonna put this right on the edge. Then I can maybe put a tree in here. Now let's kind of just adjust that perfectly if we can. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That just looks way too good to keep that hidden away. So we got that, and we also need a couple other things. So we have our keeper hut, our staff room, and we're also going to need a couple other things. So we've got a research center, a European restaurant. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, and we didn't actually adjust this. I'm going to actually adjust this. I don't want unlimited money. Okay, there you go. I have adjusted. So just like our last playthrough, we're going to start with $200,000 and 5,000 conservation credits. We are already using a little bit of power, so we got to be a little bit careful. So yeah, we have our restaurant. I don't want to get that quite yet. Obviously, I want some people. We also have shops. This is the coolest thing in the world. Okay, this is amazing. So we got this staff room. We're also going to need a toilet. Now, I don't know if I want a toilet just dedicated towards our staff. Like I could probably put one, honestly, like right here on the edge, nice and tight, just like this. Let's actually do that. If I could maybe kind of just angle it like that. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. That is just for our staff, so that should be perfect. And in fact, I need to adjust our pathing a little bit here. So let's go staff paths, and I will just do like a kind of like a green maybe. And I need to adjust these. So I'm going to just plop these in wherever there is staff. And I don't want anybody else coming over here. I want just our staff to be kind of privileged to this area. So let's do that, throw that in there, and that is looking pretty good already. So yeah, just our staff can come in here now. This is just their bathrooms. That's perfect. And then we have a couple other things. So we have more bathrooms. We also have a trade center and a vet. So we're going to need our trade center. Look at this. This is so cool. So I can kind of put these on an angle as well. Maybe do something like that. I feel like that. I want to match it up with the building rather than the path. So that should be pretty good. And we also have a workshop and a vet. Now we have a cool entrance as well. So let's do this for that. And then I could probably put a tree or something in here. I think a nice big tree would look perfect there. What about like this? Nope, that's a little tiny little olive tree. Something like, oh my gosh, that is too big. That is definitely too big. This would actually be kind of cool and keep it kind of cozy in here. Let's see how that looks. I feel like that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that's actually really cool. I'm going to go with that. And I might have to put a little bit of leaves on top of this building. Like we do have these kind of autumn leaves. Oh shoot, I need to actually buy that. Okay, that's fine. We can leave it. Get it. We can leave it, and we can also get a couple of other things. So we have our vet. That's perfect. We also need our workshop. Now this could probably go over here. We kind of have our workshop tucked into there. That should be pretty good. And they also have this cool entrance. A restaurant patio heater. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That actually is functional, so that's kind of cool. We have this thing, which is kind of the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I need to maybe replace this with something. I'm actually going to just delete that and see if we can make this a little bit cooler maybe. Like what can we even do with this? This is kind of like our main entrance. They'll kind of come from anywhere. Let's actually throw that back up and see if we can just like, I don't really know what to do with that, to be honest. So I'm just going to get rid of it. I think that should be just fine. So let's kind of keep this. It's kind of European. I mean, we are in Europe, so we would have picked a cool building. Got a little maze in there. So that's a nice little start. And I absolutely love this. So that's going to be great. I think we have all the buildings we need. What else do we get? We need a quarantine zone. So that, we will need to get that. So let's kind of see. Ah, here we go. We got our quarantine zones. Our quarantine buildings, I guess I should say. So let's just put this. And honestly, I can just put this right at the end. And then that can kind of just be the last little bit of our building. And then just to tie this in a little bit, let's do something cool with like a nice little pond at the end, maybe with like a little tree or something. So let's increase our size. And I can kind of, actually, let's maybe lower this a little bit. I don't need it that big. Now let's kind of lower this just a tiny bit. And I'm just going to have a little pond right at the end. Nothing too huge, but just to kind of tie this in. And I could probably even push it back here a tiny bit. Let's maybe do something like that. So this is actually really cool. And then obviously I can put some railings here. This should look pretty nice. Then I'd even like a little kind of lookout area over here. Might be kind of cool. That should be good. Let's grab our flatten to foundation. And then we can kind of just push this out a tiny bit. And I could probably even go kind of just beside there. And that should be good just to start. So now I can kind of chisel this a little bit. I might actually pull this in a little bit just so those roots aren't really showing. And then I can kind of just fix a lot of these edges that you see here. So that's already looking a little bit better. Kind of just hides that a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add some water. So let's go with like calm water maybe. Kind of see how that looks. Okay, that's actually pretty nice. To tie this in even a little bit more, I'm going to paint maybe some sand down here. Just to make it look a little bit better and more realistic. And obviously there probably isn't a whole lot of grass growing down there. Maybe a little bit of algae or something like that. Let's maybe do a little bit of smooth rock littered throughout here. So a little bit of that and a little bit of rough rock as well. So that should be pretty cool. Definitely don't want any snow. Actually, what's auto paint? That's actually pretty cool. I'm just going to get rid of that quickly. Rough rock, I'm just going to put on the edges. Just so this looks a lot better. Let's maybe increase our intensity here a little bit. We can kind of paint the rock surfaces a little bit. Maybe increase the size of our brush. And that should make it look a little bit cooler. Is kind of my hope anyway. So let's kind of do that. Gets rid of a little bit of sand on the edges. I think that should be pretty good. Now let's throw in a little bit of water and see our finished products. We got sand on the bottom, a little bit of rock. That's actually pretty cool. And then I would like to just get like some decorations in here if possible. So let's go with like a, you know what, maybe even a giant rock in the middle would be kind of cool. Let's see what that would look like. So we got these ones, like a mossy rock. Actually pretty cool. It's not really big enough though. I need it to like, yeah, I don't know. I'll kind of do something like that. I don't know if I love the mossy ones. Let's just go with like a temperate one. And then we could put these on the edges. And I could kind of do something like that. And kind of have just some like rocks coming out of the formation a little bit. Kind of just like that. See, that actually ties in quite nicely. And I could just do like a little bit. Actually, no, that didn't look very good. Something like that, just to kind of add a little bit of personality. Those are pretty small. Kind of just like that. And then over here, I could maybe add a couple. And then maybe a few over here as well. Kind of have a nice little rocky formation. Kind of just like that. So that actually looks pretty good. And I might even put one or two over here. And all you gotta do is literally just kind of take these. I don't claim to be a professional, but kind of just play with it a little bit. Let's kind of just do something like that. Maybe, I don't know if I love that. Let's kind of just cover that one up. Maybe lower it kind of just like that. And then it kind of just jumbled it all together. So that should be fine. Let's add in a railing here. So I'm just gonna have to go to our staff paths, add a railing on the ground path. And then I can kind of just keep that a little bit safer, if at all possible. And actually it was kind of, let's maybe open this up a little bit. That's actually kind of cool. And they can come over here and maybe sit or something like that. Actually, can I go over top of this? I think I should be able to like raise this up or something. Maybe not. Okay, that's fine. We can kind of just open that up. Maybe even put a little picnic bench. We need to trim this grass. Let's cut that really quick. So that's good. Maybe a little over here. Tiny bit of grass cut there too. And then to kind of tie it in a little bit more, let's get some cool trees to like overhang here. Let's maybe go with like a cool tree like this maybe. I'll maybe just put this little tree there. And then maybe like a nice tree there maybe, and just kind of different little ones. And then obviously I will fill it in with some bushes and all that good stuff, but I think that should be pretty good. I want a nice big tree over here just to kind of hide this. And I'm actually going to come to the perspective of these guys. I might put a tree like kind of right there. Oh, we are now in the water. I'm drowning. So I feel like that looks pretty good if I can actually look up. That's kind of hiding it nicely. And then I might do some kind of cool thing here. What I can do is maybe go to here, and there's some sort of like decorations maybe. And now I'm just going to kind of raise this up a little bit. Let's go a little bit bigger, maybe our intensity a little bit more. And now we can kind of just raise this up. I think these rocks will probably get in the way, so I'm going to delete those. And then we can kind of just raise this up a tiny bit, just so it kind of blocks this off a little bit more. I think that should be kind of good. Raise it up, and then let's maybe chisel this a tiny bit. Couple spots. I don't know, just something to kind of close this off. I don't want it super open. And I might do a couple other spots while I'm kind of at it. Kind of just throughout here. Kind of just make it a little bit cooler. And I don't want to do too much because I'm pretty sure I am going to ruin that if I keep going. So let's throw some water in here and kind of call this done. There we go, we got some water back in there, and then also like to just throw in a couple of plants in here. And then that should be pretty good for this little area. I could also do stuff like this. So you got like these plants, these are like my favorite things ever to just like throw in into random spots. Maybe kind of just mix it up a little bit. I can get like a couple of these in a few spots. It just kind of makes it a lot livelier. I could maybe add a few of these, and then I might even add like one more up there. A couple other little spots. Like I feel like over here it would be kind of cool to have a few of these kind of pop out just like that. That's actually all you really need. Like that's absolutely gorgeous. And then over here I might get some as well. Maybe actually in between the plants. Maybe kind of just like that. Just kind of brings it all together. That looks pretty good. And then I might still get a couple of flowers. Like you've got these little Chinese lantern flowers. That's actually pretty cool. Chinese flower. Common ash. So I just want like... Are there any like cool bushes? I mean, you got this tiny little one. I want a bigger one though. Got these daffodils. That's actually pretty nice. Let's maybe do something like that. Just to make this as nice as possible. This is for a staff after all, so I want it to look good. Put a couple of these flowers kind of in here maybe. And that actually looks pretty good. A couple other little daffodils. Maybe kind of just growing into the rocks kind of like that. Okay, that is already looking a little bit better. A little bit of flowers. Okay, I like this. A nice calm little area. I think that looks pretty good. And let's maybe adjust our terrain a little bit more. Let's get some rough rock and kind of just roughen that up a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of sand just to kind of make it a little bit different. And maybe a little bit of soil, why not? A little bit of soil kind of around here. Just kind of makes it look lived in. Okay, that's probably good for our little pond area. But that's looking a lot better. And I might even fill this in with some bigger trees, actually. I keep second guessing myself, but I think if I can just like get some nice big trees to kind of just fill this in, maybe kind of just like that, it kind of just creates a nicer area. Kind of just like that. Let's just kind of come over here like that. And that's already a lot better. So I'm going to call this done. I'm nice and happy with that. We have all of our staff buildings. Let's get our, what the heck is this thing called again? Our Alpine Ipex. So let's go ahead and get that. So obviously we're going to need a area for them. And the first, or if we can get a zoo entrance or a kind of a habitat for them, that would be kind of nice. So let's go to our animal trading and let's refresh our filters here. So here we have our Alpine Ibex. So it's kind of like a, I don't want to say mountain goat, but it kind of gives me some of those vibes. I'm from Canada, so we definitely see lots of these around. So I think, let's maybe take a look at what they like. So let's go to Zoopedia. What do they kind of prefer? So they like not too much land requirement. That's actually pretty good, but I bet you we need quite a few of them. Probably like 3, maybe even 4 adults. Let's make this pretty big. Let's allow for maybe 5 adults. If they have a couple of kids, I'll start out with probably 2. 630 meters squared is plenty reasonable. -7 to 28 degrees Celsius. We are 26 right now. So that's kind of perfect. Okay. So you kind of see, that's actually so cool. It tells you where they're from. France, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, Germany, Slovenia. So that's actually very, very cool. And they are, it doesn't really tell you how many of them they really want. Let's go with that. So if we can get a shelter of like 600 meters squared, I think that should be pretty good. And what I might do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to go back to size 7. I'm going to take this a little bit further because I want lots of space in here for building as much as I want. And I think if I had like some shops over here, that might be a good little area. I'm actually going to build a little food court over here if I can. So I'm just going to do a grid, and then I'll kind of just round this off in the middle, kind of like this. Let's make this as big as we can. So let's go like all the way over here, and that can kind of just be our food court-ish area. And then I will deselect our grid, and then I'll just come off right in the middle of it, literally right there, and just connect to right there. So then I can get some trees in there, and then I can get some cool buildings and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. So let's go with our shops. So obviously we got a restaurant. I want to put this somewhere if I can. And this could probably even go like right off of here. So where's our entrance? Don't really, okay, probably like that. That's actually so cool. I'm kind of in love with that. So where could I put this that would be like the coolest thing ever? Probably like over here maybe? I kind of like to put like lots of shops around here, but if I put my restaurant over here, that'd be kind of cool. And I actually like the parts that are showing. So let's align this to our grid. I think that would probably be pretty good. And I'm actually gonna make sure I twist this so it looks perfect. Maybe kind of something like that. And then I can go literally, what is that little thing? It's kind of just like a little overhang. So I think that should actually look pretty good. I'm gonna set that up. Maybe like right there, and then I can get a couple other buildings around here. That is a nice little setup. Let's take a look at this. So you can come in, you order, there might even be like a bathroom or 2 in here maybe. It doesn't really look like there's a bathroom, but there might be something up here. You never know. Let's see. Kind of enter in. Nope. It's just a little another little room. So that's actually kind of cool. We have our restaurant. And again, I don't want to spend too much money before we get things started. But we will need a food court. So let's keep going. Let's figure out where I want to get my first habitat. So let's go back to maybe a 5. And I am just going to take this straight out and maybe as long as we can, just so it's nice and easy. And I'll just go straight out and maybe even kind of angle in a tiny bit. And kind of just go out that way just to start. And then it can kind of go right across like this. I feel like this would be kind of cool. So let's go with like a 3. Or maybe even like a 5. Let's see if we can just like bridge right across. Maybe kind of just like that. And then go across. Kind of like a nice little pizza pie. And then we could probably put some kind of display in here. I think that would be kind of cool. And then I will get my first habitat over here. So obviously if I want to connect this, what's this building? Our workshop. So that could probably go somewhere else. I'm actually going to move this right like this if I can. Just kind of tuck that in there. I think that should be pretty good. And then I'm actually going to take this and just go straight through and connect up to this area. And then I'm actually going to make all of this a staff path area. And then our people can kind of just... Actually, no, I'm going to go back. I wouldn't mind just having this area just for them to kind of cross over. And then I'm kind of have my entrance probably around here. I still want them to be able to go around and continue on like that. So I think I don't mind that. So this is going to be my first little habitat. Let's go to our barriers and let's maybe go with like a habitat gate. And this is actually really cool because it's kind of like a European stone. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So let's maybe spin this around, face it up kind of with that. And then I can kind of just have our little area kind of start like that. So let's maybe increase the length to like a 9. And I feel like that would be a nice little start. And then I can just have like a 1, face it out this way. And then I can kind of just curve this all the way around. Let's see how long we can get this thing. Let's maybe go like all the way around. Might as well do this as efficiently as possible. And then I can maybe go to like there. Maybe even a little bit further actually. Let's go like 11. And then we can align that up kind of just like that. And obviously I'm going to make this glass. But we can just get this kind of sorted out for now. And then this part I'll just get nice and straight. Maybe a little bit longer. Kind of just like that. Let's make sure it is perfectly straight, if possible. So that looks pretty good. And honestly, if we kind of just rounded this off, I think that should be pretty good. So let's just see what needs to happen for that. So let's just come straight out. Kind of just like a 90-degree angle. And then we can start angling all the way around. So if we can kind of just go right over top, I will just create a nice arc for us if possible. And then we can maybe just connect to that. I might have to readjust this. So let's actually go right off of here. 1. And then I will just have this as a 90. And then I should be able to just connect up to there. Potentially. So it's obstructed. So why is that obstructed? Let's maybe go a little bit shorter. It might be actually be obstructed by our gate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back 1. And then maybe take this out a little bit further. Kind of just like that. And then I should be able to go out this way. Let's see. Can I, let's go on a 90 and then I can kind of just connect this up. But that's not really what I want. So let's kind of angle it that way. And then I will delete that part. And then I think I should be able to just connect up to that. How weird does that look? That's not the coolest thing I've ever built. And then I can maybe just connect up to that. So that's a little bit better. That's not horrible. It's not absolutely perfect, but I think it should be big enough. So let's see how big this ended up being. So 800 meters squared, that's honestly kind of ideal. And it is nice and long, so I can kind of go around it this way. Like I can take a path and go right around this thing. Let's maybe even go a little bit further out, and then I can kind of just angle right in just like this. And then this part I might end up taking a little bit further out. So let's go a 7. And I don't need that far, so let's just go to like a 2 maybe. Just to go a little bit further out, and then I can take this and connect it back to our main path. So let's just do something like that. That's actually pretty cool. So now I can like have them see all the way around it. That should be good. Let's go ahead and get these guys here. So let's maybe get a male and a female. So let's maybe see what size. 0%. Is this thing even like alive? So we have a good female here with a good rating. Let's maybe do these two. We can actually adopt them with our conservation points. That is lovely. So let's get those two. We have our animal storage. Let's grab them and send them to our brand new quarantine zone, where they shall have a nice little stay at our beautiful little pond area here. So that's exciting. And we will get them into this area. So let's maybe see, what size did they need? Let's go back to our Zoopedia. Just for them, they needed a 4.125 feet boundary. So what does that convert to? Is that like 12 or 16? No. 4 feet. That's like 1.5 meters. Let's maybe just do 2 meters just to be safe. Let's just grab all of this. 2 meters. Yeah, honestly, that's probably fine. They don't need a huge habitat. I might do a little bit taller just so you can actually see them. Like if I edit this barrier, I'll probably make this whole thing glass if possible. Yeah, let's maybe do that. Let's go one-way glass. Obviously they can't see out. That should actually be pretty cool. And then over here, I will kind of do maybe just this one-way glass, and obviously I'll have to switch that around. So let's maybe do flip that around. So that should be pretty good. I don't want the whole thing glass, but I definitely want people to be able to see in here. Or I could maybe flip that and have this portion be one way. Flip that to that, and then this also be one way. That's a little bit more, and then I can keep that there. Let's actually edit this if I can. Okay, that should actually be pretty decent. That should be good. People should be able to see. Let's maybe grab some garbage cans and all that good stuff. Or actually, let's maybe get... First of all, we're going to need a couple other things here. So we need to do a couple of things at a time. So let's go caretaker. We definitely need a caretaker. Be kind of cool to give him a European outfit. Maybe a keeper. Let's go back to zoo. A mechanic. We'll definitely need a mechanic. And security, couple of vendors wouldn't be bad. So they'll definitely need to take breaks. And a vet might be pretty ideal. Security guard, I don't need to worry about that quite yet. An educator we will get later. So let's maybe go to our work zones and see if we can add a work zone. So this I'm going to call entire zoo. So let's literally just do zoo. I think that should be fine. And we can kind of just enable everything. This is kind of what I do. I learned this from, I think Pause Builds or something like that. He just does like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's worked for me. I just put everyone enabled to my entire zoo. I could do some different sections, but honestly, it's kind of just easier this way. So everybody is going to go and work for all of this. So let's select everyone, put them to our zoo. Oh, I see. You just do it from here too. It's a little bit easier. Okay. So now everyone except for you, restaurant, zoo. So now you're all kind of working for everything. So that is pretty good. Now we're going to need to get a couple of things here. So let's go to habitat. Let's get some food and water in here before they get in here. So let's go to species. And we have the Alpine Ibex. So let's select that. Let's get maybe a medium food trough. There might be a pretty big family in here. Let's maybe do like a large one. So this we could probably put maybe right there is probably fine. And then a water bowl. Actually, maybe instead of a water bowl, they obviously want lots of room to run around. I might do some cool little pond area in here if I can. I usually like to do ponds anywhere I can. It just looks a little bit more natural. So literally just like right I feel like maybe like right in the corner here might be kind of cool. Just to have a little area to come grab a nice drink of water. Kind of just like that, and then it'll slowly taper in to the rest of our exhibit. Kind of just like that. I don't know if these things climb a whole lot. They're kind of like a deer. I don't know what they really do. Let me know in the comments what an alpine ibex does in Europe. They definitely look like mountain goats, if you ask me. So let's throw in some water there. Let's maybe a little bit more shallow. That's not so bad. I could probably work with that. And it actually tapers in quite nicely. I might actually adjust this a little bit more. Like, I don't think all of this should be... Let's kind of see what that looks like. That's a little bit cooler. Just adds a little bit of character. And then we could probably make this a little bit cooler. So let's maybe get them in here first. So let's see if they're ready. Yes, we got a couple of check marks. Quarantine complete. So let's move them into their new habitat. And now we have our alpine ibexes. It'll be kind of cool to set up their habitat. Hopefully people will start coming. And we also need some shops. So as soon as we get these guys ready to go, we will get some shops. In the meantime, we could probably get some like bins anywhere we can. So let's put a bin maybe right there. Maybe kind of just on the corner. And maybe kind of as you enter in. And then obviously here, as you get closer to our food court, we'll have a couple of bins to kind of greet you. So I think that'll be good. We also have a restaurant patio heater. I gotta put this like right in the middle, or should I put it like kind of on the corner? I don't want anybody burning themselves. I could probably put it like maybe like right. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Okay, there. I just had to select that. So that's actually a nice little spot. You know what? I'm gonna put it over here instead. I feel like this would be a cool spot for that. Oh, that's so cool. So that should kind of heat that up. And honestly, maybe even having another one over here might be a good idea. I don't know how hot these things get, but hopefully it won't burn anybody. You can kind of have two of those. So that is as good as it gets. That's super cool. And we already have some guests flowing in. So look at that. They come as soon as you get your ibexes, and look at these things. Oh my gosh. Oh, we're still on the thing. So let's go to our camera. Oh, check out these guys. They're very, very cool. Look at those, would you call them horns or would you call them antlers? That is a very, very good question, or something else. Let me know in the comments. Again, alpine ibex. Very, very cool animal. So let's see what we can do for these guys. So let's go by, we gotta keep that open. Let's maybe get their terrain sorted out first. So what do they like? So hard shelter, apparently that is a hardy fine. They just sleep anywhere apparently. Terrain, we definitely need to adjust this. And we have a good navigatable area, so that's good as well. They definitely probably have... Wait, not enough short grass. Okay, that's fine. That makes sense. So let's get some short grass in here. Let's trim the hedges and get some grass in here. And actually, somebody pointed this out in the comments, and I don't do this enough. Put some sand at the bottom here. And then you can kind of make this a little bit cooler. I'm actually going to get rid of this just for a quick second. I want to get some like sand just in some of these areas. Kind of on the sides, and then you can kind of put like some soil in here as well. A little bit of like rock or something cool. I don't know. It just adds a little bit of character to your little pond area. So that's a little bit nicer. And obviously I can go back and see, maybe adjust our size. Let's add some sand. Yeah, just maybe not that much. Let's maybe go like a 2. A little bit of sand on the edges. You can even have a little beach for them or something cool. A little bit of sand there. I feel like that looks a little bit better already. Okay, yeah, something like that. And then maybe even a little bit of soil as well. Make it a little bit cooler. Doesn't have to be overly complicated. So that's good. Couple other things we need. Let's go back to our terrain. We have enough short grass. We are good with our long grass that we have. We need a little bit more soil. So let's maybe increase the size of our brush, maybe our intensity a little bit, and then we can kind of just paint in a little bit of soil everywhere, especially where things are kind of lived in. So that should be good. We got lots of soil. I think grass is probably good the way it is. Let's kind of get the edges. I imagine that they will go over there a little bit, but not a whole lot. And now let's get some rock so we can get some smooth rock. Let's maybe get some rock kind of over here. Maybe a little bit kind of around here. And they are kind of like mountain goats, so I might be right. Who knows? That's probably enough rock for them. Soil, long grass, that's probably good. And let's get a little bit of sand in here. Kind of just creates a nice little area for these guys. Get rid of some of the grass on the sides. That's actually too much sand, if you can believe it. So let's go back. Control Z or Control Z for you Americans. So that's good. They definitely don't need snow, so they are nice and happy with that. Let's go to our environment. So this is a little bit cooler. They come from taiga, which is very, very cool. Let's keep it European themed and get these guys some cool things. I might even just like throw a dead tree in here to start. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. And what if it's kind of bigger? I actually like that one a little bit better. Let's go with like a little bit taller one. They can rub their horns on it or something. I think that'd be kind of cool. Let's get a little bit of alpine going here. So let's maybe put an alpine tree in here or two, and then a couple of bigger ones just to kind of give them a little bit of coverage. Coverage is pretty good. I might do a little bit more. And I could probably even have something like this as well. Kind of just overhanging here maybe. Just as they walk into this area, I think that'd be kind of cool. That's definitely enough coverage. I'm going to get them a couple of cool... Oh, we got a tiny little tree here as well. Probably put them in here, but let's get some of these like big hedges. And I could probably put some of those like kind of just along the water in a couple of spots maybe. What do I want to do? Probably like that. Maybe like I don't really know. I don't want to do anything crazy. But I could probably like lower that. Kind of have it looking like that a little bit. And then I could probably even put some rocks kind of throughout here. But I'm just gonna stop that before it gets out of hand. Because sometimes I like to go a little bit crazy. Ivy patch, that's kind of cool. A little bit of poison ivy. And you got some of this stuff, so I don't... Dwarf, coronal, large, so I don't know if this like... It looks like it would be kind of something that would float on top of water. Or kind of just like... I don't really know. Let's maybe do a little bit of it over here. It definitely looks like some sort of flower that would pop out of nowhere. But I could maybe get a smaller one over here. It kind of looks like lily pads. I don't know. I feel like it'd be kind of cool to have some of this floating on top maybe. In a couple of spots. Maybe kind of just like that. I don't know. Call me crazy. And then maybe some to just like... floating on top here. Let's maybe get a little bit closer so we can... I think he's in here nicer. I don't know. Let's do something like that. And then we also have some moss, which is kind of cool. Now, this stuff could probably just go like anywhere really. Some moss down there. Maybe a little bit around there. And actually, this is kind of cool. You can kind of just throw it anywhere. But obviously, keeping it look nice. Maybe a little bit of moss under the tree, kind of like that. You got little bushes you can kind of throw in here. Let's kind of just do something like that. These definitely go near water. Probably have one kind of like that. And then I want to get some rocks kind of around here. So let's go with some rocks. We've got some tiger rocks. Now these are absolutely huge. I don't want that big. maybe, yeah, kind of like that maybe. I could kind of throw them in a couple of these spots. So let's maybe get a rock. I feel like over here might be kind of cool. Maybe kind of just like that. And then I could also get a few kind of just like that, just to make it a little bit more rocky. And then it's still built into there, so that should be good. And then this one, I'll just kind of get a little bit of rock formations. I kind of like a flat one, just as they kind of enter in here. Like, I feel like that, maybe even just like, actually really like that. That's really cool. And then I'll probably get like something like that, and then something a little bit bigger. Maybe kind of do something like that. That's actually really cool. And then maybe double up on some of these spots. That's already coming together nicely. Now, obviously, I don't want it to go outside of the fenced in area. Let's kind of just do something like that. Like, that already makes a giant difference. And obviously, I need to get some plants around these brand new rocks. So I'll probably do like, what about these Chinese lanterns? These are actually quite nice. I could probably just like throw one in there. Maybe have like a rock stump. I feel like I need a random stump. Kind of just right in the middle, just for them to trip on. A little bit of these flowers are kind of nice. Let's throw in some of these. Oh, here he comes. Coming in to enjoy the new area. Let's maybe even put some of these. Maybe kind of just, I don't really love those actually. Let's just do like some more alpine currant. I could probably put one of these kind of just there. And this actually looks pretty good, but I'm gonna get, I wouldn't mind a little bit more kind of little flowers kind of throughout here. I think that looks pretty good. We got these little bushes that we can also get. Then I might throw one kind of like right there. Let's take a look back. Yeah, that's actually looking pretty nice. I don't know if I love that one there. Let's kind of just get rid of that. Don't want to overcomplicate it. I want them to be able to enter in here and have a nice bath. And then I need cooler bushes. We don't have a whole lot of bushes with all these. We got these lady ferns now. These are pretty cool and they will make quite the difference. Could probably put a few of them in here. I definitely like these. A few of those. This is so random. I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's continue to put a couple of these around here because they are quite cool. I could probably even put another one, maybe kind of just on top. Okay, that's looking a lot better. A little bit of this. I don't know if I love this stuff either. Let's just get rid of that. And kind of something like that. Okay, that's actually looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. That looks really good. We got lots of different terrain in here. And I'm going to get rid of these just because they look a little bit silly. I don't know. I kind of just throw stuff down and then decide I just absolutely hate it. So that is what's going to happen with that. And then maybe like a nice little... No, this is one of those times. Just got to stop while I'm ahead. Okay, that looks pretty good. Are they nice and happy? We definitely don't want any protesters. Our coverage is probably a little bit too much, but I had a little bit of fun with that. Let's go back to our habitat and let's get some enrichment items for these guys. So let's maybe like a hanging feeder. This would be kind of cool. And this would actually be nice, like on top of here. We could do something like that and they can kind of come up here. We actually could probably put this like over top of this stump or something. I feel like that's kind of cool. Let's just put it over top of the stump and I can also get this scarecrow feeder. Now this is actually pretty cool. Let's maybe put this kind of near the tree, kind of like that. We got these veggie jelly cake. Okay, I'm going too far. Okay, let's go back to here. Let's see what they need. They're happy with their food enrichment. Let's get some toys. Let's get like a grab ball. Would this thing float? I feel like that should probably float. Let's just kind of... Let's throw that right there, maybe. A little grab ball. Maybe a rubbing pillar or something in the back. doesn't hurt anybody. We also have these trees that they can kind of itch themselves on, and I don't really have any room for them. Oh, this is okay. I need this somewhere, so I'm actually gonna maybe move this. I'm gonna move that anywhere else, maybe even like back here. I'm gonna move that there, and then I'm also gonna move this just right over it, kind of just like what we had. And then that is obviously, that's actually cool that that's obstructed, so let's take that down, kind of just like that. And now I can get my cool goat climbing hill. Oh, he's already playing with that. That's cool. Oh, do we not have room for this thing? Okay, I have to get this in here. And I gotta move some stuff here. So let's just put this like there. This graze feeder I could probably move. Like, I don't know, like maybe right as they come in. I could probably even put that like, we're gonna put this thing, maybe just like right there. And then let's see if we can throw this in here. So obviously our goats are kind of in the way. I think maybe even our food trough is in the way, so let's move that over. And I just want to create enough area for this thing. Okay, now I think I finally have enough space for this. There was like one spot that it would let me put it in. Right there. So that's as good as it's going to get. So let's take a look at this thing. It's kind of recessed into the ground, but this is like, that is a must. That definitely need to be there. So now we can rearrange this again. Let's put our trees in here if we can. Probably put like a tree there. And my little scarecrow, I want to put that maybe even like up here would be kind of cool. Or maybe kind of just down here. I don't really know where to put this guy. Maybe kind of just like in the back. Let's put him there. We keep our food there and our graze feeder. I could probably put maybe more in the middle. Honestly, where it was probably fine. I'm happy with that. They can move their ball and kind of play around with that. And let's also move this just so it's kind of, there we go. Just so it hides that. So that is actually perfect. And now we can kind of decorate this a little bit. Let's get a couple of our tiny little fern bushes, which I absolutely love. I could probably put some of these in here. Get a couple of those. Probably put a couple down here. And maybe kind of just up here. I don't know if it makes sense to have these things growing out of this. But I kind of love it, I'm not going to lie. And maybe like one down here as well. A little bit of a fern bush. Let's even go a little bit lower. Okay, that is looking pretty sweet. And then maybe you got these like, these giant bushes. They're probably too big. Ooh, that's pretty. I might even do that. Just kind of add that in. Okay, that really spruces that up a little bit. Don't want to go too much, but I think that should be pretty nice. Let's take a look at these guys. Are they nice and happy? I think they are pretty happy. They actually have too much coverage now, so I might have to get rid of something. I don't know. I kind of like that tree where it is. Would this get rid of coverage? Because that does kind of open this up a little bit more. Okay, well, we still have too much plant coverage, so let's just call that fine. They're fine. They have just the right amount, so they are nice and happy here now, and I can't imagine there are too many protesters. We're going to need a couple of things, so let's go to here. Let's, so we need donation boxes. Ooh, where did we get that? Might have to turn off Europe pack. There we go, donation boxes. So we need to put these in a couple of good spots. Maybe kind of in the middle, just like that. And then maybe kind of just around back here, if possible. I might even get one. Is it greedy to put another one in the middle? I feel like that's pretty greedy. Let's maybe move this over a little bit. And then let's take a look at that. Using my eye. Okay, that's pretty centered. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then now I'm going to get a couple of things. So I'm going to get our media devices. Gotta have these. Oh, turn off donation boxes. Actually, we need our visual media. We got our Habitat educational board set. So let's put a couple of these in. I don't really want to I feel like that's going to block a lot. I don't want to really block the view. Let's just put one there. And then maybe one over here. And now I can actually just enable that. So Alpine Ibex. So that's perfect. Oh no, we don't have any power over here. I bet you we have power over here though. Yeah, we do. Okay. Well, that's at least fine. Let's take this and put that kind of just there so people can see. And then I'll kind of do the same thing here. Put that there. That's a nice spot. We need some power over here. That is a beautiful little habitat. I'm actually really happy with that. Let's see. Let's go down and see. Yeah, they seem nice and happy. Or he's just depressed. But I think he should be pretty happy. He's got a nice big climbing thing. But I guess I was kind of right. They like climbing stuff. Yeah, they like this thing. So they should be nice and happy with that. Let's take a look at our power. So we are just barely missing this, unfortunately. But everything else is pretty good. If I could get some more power, I think having a little power area over here-ish. Unless I had something, I don't know, we'll have to kind of figure that out. But I can imagine I'll probably have more habitats kind of in this general area. And I might even take a path, maybe like a size 7, right through the middle here. And kind of just go straight out. Maybe just to there for now, and then I can kind of get some habitats on either side of that. But for now, I would like to get a couple of things sorted out. So we got some more bins in here. Let's duplicate that. And maybe just get some bins on either side here. Maybe kind of just on the corner. Maybe kind of just next to these. And then maybe just on the corner there again. So that looks pretty good. And I still haven't decided what I want to put here. I feel like I could probably have some kind of like Basilia, like you got your nature. I want to go to actual blueprints and turn off Europe pack. Now you kind of got these cool scenes that exist. Like I feel like this would be super cool if it fit. Oh my gosh. I have to kind of lower that, but if that fits, I feel like that might be too big. Let's maybe do something like a little bit smaller. Like that's actually kind of cool. It doesn't really have to be perfectly European. Got these aquatic habitat. Now that's like actually pretty cool. Okay, how about a nice little fountain? I feel like that'd be kind of cool. Everybody loves fountains. Let's put that nice and symmetrical. I'm actually realizing I didn't make this super symmetrical on either side. So I think that should be good. Let's trim the grass a little bit just to clean this up. And honestly, kind of love that. I might put a little bit of trees, but I'm kind of loving the way that looks. I could probably put like some flowers in here, but I'm just kind of afraid to ruin it. Let's maybe just get like, let's get rid of taiga and let's just get like some apple trees. I feel like that would look kind of nice. What do you, maybe like some of these? I don't want to really block this, but I could probably put some of these in here. Just kind of adds a little bit, and then I might even do some like, where was our nice, oh, that's pretty. I actually don't hate that. Let's maybe put that right next to there. I could probably even have a symmetrical one on the other side. Yeah, let's maybe do that, and then I could probably, you know what? I have decided something. Now, this is probably going to end up with people getting like thorns in them, but I am just going to get like a rose bush all the way around this thing. Like, how cool does that look? I actually really like that. You might even hate it, so let me know in the comments, but I think that looks pretty good. And I may even just get rid of these trees and take this all the way to the edges. I don't know. Or that's, I feel like the trees were pretty nice. I could probably make this more symmetrical and even put another one in here. Call me crazy. Let's maybe get a third one. Kind of just like that. And then I'll have to kind of... let's maybe do something like this. Let's grab another one. kind of go all the way to the edge. No, that's so random. Just get rid of that tree. That looks a little bit better. Kind of keep it simple. That looks nice. Nicely cut grass, so that should be perfect. And that kind of has a nice little centerpiece for all of this. So that's actually kind of cool. And what I'm a little bit curious about, I did like that little rose bush, but if there's like a smaller one, I'd kind of love to put those. We have these ones, which are kind of a little bit smaller. I'm actually gonna put some smaller ones in here maybe instead. So let's come right here. And then I can kind of just go along here maybe. And I feel like that looks a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better actually. Let's go with that. Kind of something like that. Throw in some rose bushes. And then maybe make it nice and symmetrical over here. Okay, how does that look? Whoop, sorry about that. Okay, that looks a lot better. I like that. And then maybe even like, I also have these smaller ones, which I could probably put kind of right on the corners. Oh my gosh, game. Probably put these kind of just on the corners. No, let's not worry about it. That's probably fine. Unless I put these kind of just like on the corners of this. I don't know. I'm kind of just brainstorming a little bit. I don't mind that. It's a little bit more of a centerpiece. Then I am going to just duplicate that and take that all the way to the edge. Maybe kind of just like this. Let's just go right to there. And then I can do the same over here. So how does that look? That's actually epic. I really like that. That's absolutely perfect. Nice and clean. Nothing too fancy. But kind of just gets the point across. So that's actually quite nice. We need to get a couple of buildings for our facilities here. So let's go. Actually, we probably want to go back to our Europe content pack. Those have the coolest buildings. I'm absolutely going to use these buildings in the future. Like, look, so you got a cool restaurant. You also another restaurant. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So where's kind of the entrance? So this is somewhat of the entrance. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to put that where that one is. Nope, gotta stick with that one. Unless I could put it in like a cooler spot, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of just as cool as it gets. I could probably put this restaurant here. And obviously get rid of this tree because there are some issues with that. That's so cool. And obviously I could probably put this restaurant even somewhere else if I wanted. I don't want to use up all of my cards. I'm actually going to wait. I'm going to put that in a better spot somewhere else. But I'm going to get some large shops here and this will be plenty cool on its own. I'm going to put one big one right in the middle. If I can, put that nice and symmetrical. Probably have a little bit of a lineup, maybe like that. And then I can get some shops in here. So let's select this, edit that group, and then we can get some buildings in here. So let's go to our guest facilities. We're gonna need some food stalls. Let's go with, I guess we'll have to turn off that. And now we have Bernie's base. Gotta have a chief beef. Let's throw a chief beef in there, and then maybe a drink stall. I feel like right next to your beef, you gotta have some kind of just a regular like soda place. Gulpy soda. Nice and easy. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now we have a couple other European buildings that we can go with. So let's go back to our Europe content pack. We got some restaurants. This is actually so cool. So we got our shops. We also have some small shops. So now these could go kind of just right. I could kind of put it like right there. And then I'll put another one right in the corner like that, if possible. That is the coolest thing ever. So let's edit this. And now we can turn that off. Or turn that off, I guess. And let's go to, let's get like a couple other little food places. So Bernie's Bakes might be kind of cool. Chief Beef you already have. And oh, you gotta have an ice cream place. So let's get that. And then over here, I will do the same. Oh, don't want to ruin showing anything here. So let's just edit this building now. And let's maybe get another drink place. Maybe like a water place. Who drinks water at a theme park? That's just crazy. Maybe like a coffee place, actually. Coffee's probably even a little bit crazier, but let's go with that. And then they are nice and spaced apart, so that's kind of nice. Let's stop editing that. And we're gonna need a couple other buildings in here. Actually, we need a bathroom, don't we? Okay, this might change some things. So let's maybe go to our bathroom. Because, yeah, let's go to content pack. Europe pack, and we need to figure out where we want to put a bathroom in here. So let's go to toilets. We have this large one, and this could really go anywhere, I guess. I could probably even do it like on the corner to kind of tie this in. Let's kind of see. I could literally just like, I don't know if that looks super weird, but let's maybe just go with that. It kind of just ties it in a little bit more. And I could probably even go back a little bit. What about a smaller one, actually? We don't need a huge one. Probably just like this. And then I can kind of angle it in. Make it a little bit symmetrical. Okay. That actually looks pretty good. Ties it in nicely. I can get some bushes and kind of fill this in. But that actually, it's nice and cozy. It's actually super cool. I'm going to get rid of a couple of trees here. And then I can maybe get, we also need some information stuff. So let's go all. We got our toilets. Wait, I don't know if insufficient funds. Oh, that's for the entrance. That's why. Like $155,000 for a toilet. We got this, a couple other shops that we can get. I wouldn't mind like a food truck. That's very European, I feel like. And this could maybe even go like right on the corner. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. Put a little food truck right on the corner, and then I could probably have another one. Kind of just like, let's have this little food truck corner that people love to visit. Couple of food trucks, and I may even, let's put this one here, and then this one I'm actually just gonna move over a little bit. Put it right in the corner. Kind of just like that. I don't want too many of them, but I think 2 of them will be good. And I don't know if I have to, do I edit this and then, oh, it's just a shell. So we need to put, let's go to facilities here, turn that off. Maybe a drink stall, and now we can get these little things here. So if we edit this, oh, can I edit this? Please tell me I can edit this. Color editor, so I might be able to do something with this. Let's see. I actually don't fully know how to even get this in there, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm going to get rid of our food trucks and then see if I can get something else. So let's go back to Europe. Let's go back to Europe. And what about, like, we need some finance stuff. We definitely need an information place. Honestly, I might even get another one of these. Let's just put it, yeah, we definitely have lots of room back there. So let's just put it kind of like that-ish. I feel like that should be just fine. Got a nice little lineup space. So let's edit this. And we can get a couple other things. So let's maybe get, we don't have 2 things. So those 2 things we don't have are in information center. So let's just get one of those. As soon as you come in, that's the first thing you see. It's just right there. In fact, I might even put it like right there. I'm actually going to put our information center right there instead. So let's not do that. Let's get a couple of merchandise things. I feel like that would be a good idea. So we got the Just Memento, gotta have that. And I need some balloons, and I also want some hats. So I might actually do that instead of your hats. So let's go hats and balloons. Because then that actually affects the aesthetic of the entire park. I feel like that'd be super cool. So now I'm going to get this. I'm going to put it right on the edge here. Let's make sure it's nice and center with that. And I am literally just going to put this right there. As soon as you come in. And I'm going to edit that. And now I'm going to get a information center just for that. Okay, perfect. So that actually looks pretty good. I can put a couple of cool trees. I actually really like these ones, so I'm just gonna literally copy those, twist them around just so they look good. Put a couple of those, and I might even do maybe one more going that way, and maybe one just like that, symmetrical, maybe a little bit right there. That's probably good. That's actually a nice little entrance. This is looking gorgeous. Okay, I think that should be pretty good. And then I'll probably get some kind of cool tree here. Really hyped about this. Actually, I'm gonna get some bins first. Let's copy that, and I want to put some bins kind of just, don't want to get them like in between. I want some trees. Let's not have this like so cookie cutter. I don't know. Let's just do something like that. And then I could probably do that. Okay, put a couple of bins in there. I might even have one. Okay, I already have one right at the entrance. So that is probably good. Over here, I'll put maybe one there. I don't want too many. Let's kind of just keep that open a little bit. And then we have a nice little restaurant here, so I'm not going to just absolutely litter that with where you put your litter. So that should be good. Let's get a couple of trees to kind of tie this together. So we got our apple trees. I want to get, so we got these poplar trees actually. I might want to get some big ones. What do we have? Like a nice, like that would honestly be sweet if it wasn't so massive. Let's maybe get a smaller version of that. Probably just like that. Just to kind of tie this in a tiny bit. We also have these tiny little trees, which I wouldn't mind. Let's actually bring that a little bit closer. And then it kind of just, that's a little bit nicer. Let's actually lower that a tiny bit. Right there. I feel like that looks pretty good. I really like the way it overhangs. It kind of shadows the place in. That definitely looks good. And I'll definitely put a couple of these in here as well. So where would be good spots for these? Let's kind of just do, that's kind of like an entrance. Let's just do something like that. And obviously, I could probably have one kind of like right there, and then one on the other side as well. This is looking super cool. So then I'm just going to continue this on. I could even have another tree just like this. And then maybe kind of just stop there. That is the coolest little area. Oh, we already have a balloon in the air. Our first balloon, our first man down. Let's maybe get, I really like these, what do you call them? We got like these wild little plants that we can kind of throw in here. But I kind of want to keep everything nice and clean. That's kind of the issue. So let's just do that. Let's cut some grass. Let's do a little bit of grass cutting in here. Let's make sure everything looks nice and clean. Even behind the buildings, make sure it looks perfect. Okay, that looks good. And then what else do I want to do to this place? Honestly, I'm kind of fine with that. As far as everything else, let's maybe go to facilities, and I just want to get some benches maybe. Get these benches, little picnic benches might be kind of cool, and there's gotta be some kind of European one. Europe pack? Oh, we just have like these heaters. What about, okay, let's just see what we have for benches. Just like aquatic picnic bench. We also got, let's just go to picnic benches and see if we can pick some nice ones. We kind of have these New World ones, and honestly, they are kind of cool. What about these ones? Let's maybe go with these wooden ones. They're actually kind of cool. So let's flip these around. And I don't want to litter this too much with these, but I wouldn't mind. Let's see if we can have these nice and symmetrical apart. How does that look? That's not too bad. I am gonna actually, I thought you could like grab, I'm kind of been playing around with this. I thought you could grab this whole row and just like duplicate it down, but I guess not. That might be something they added a little bit later, or maybe for Planet Coaster 2, but we'll just have to kind of throw these in here manually. So let's just kind of go over top. We can make this look as nice as possible. And honestly, just like 2 rows like that is absolutely fine with me. And it looks like there's no hole in the top for us to add a little umbrella, so we're just gonna have to live with that. We probably have enough garbages everywhere, but honestly, I wouldn't mind having a couple of these. Kind of just like on the ends or something. Maybe kind of just like there. Nothing too fancy. These people are stuck in here, so that is definitely no good. Are they actually? That might be a problem. We'll have to kind of keep an eye on this, but I think it might be fine. Unless I do this here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab this one and bring it down. And then I'm going to kind of just create a little bit more area in here. And then let's actually just duplicate this. And then we can come straight through and maybe one right there as well. So that actually looks a little bit better. There's a little bit of area in the middle. We already have some garbage, which is nice. Let's maybe grab the one that doesn't have any to duplicate and put there. Maybe spin that around and that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm actually probably pretty happy with this. And in the middle, what could we do with the middle? Some kind of decoration. Let's just kind of keep it nice and open. So this is a nice little food court. I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. That should be an absolute perfect start for us. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Let's quickly do another wheel spin and see which animal enclosure we're going to do next. We got a couple of spots kind of open here, so let's go spin the wheel. Here we are. Let's see what we end up getting next. We have about 4 left. It's kind of sad that there's not 8 like most DLCs, but it looks like we got the European. Oh my gosh, that could lit it. Whoa, it's like right in between. So European Badger we got. So let's hop over to our animal trading, reset our filters. Just type in Badger, I think should probably work. Yeah, there we go. European Badger. Look at these little guys. They're so cool. Okay, we got, I guess let's kind of take a look at what they need first. So let's go to Zoopedia. This is kind of the first thing I usually do. So they don't need a huge habitat, which is nice. I might just get like 2, maybe a male and female. I'm kind of picturing the beavers off of Narnia. That's kind of what I'm thinking of. Just 2 of them. They don't need a very big enclosure. I might get them a little bit of water to kind of play in, but I think that should be just fine. Biomes, Taiga temperate, which we are. So that should be just fine. And they need a 3-foot grade. So, I mean, really, they only need about 1 meter tall, maybe 1.5 meters. So let's just leave it at 2 just to kind of keep everything the same. So let's go ahead and get these guys. I'm just going to get a male and female, whatever has the best park rating. This guy's pretty good. He's got good size. And I usually go for like, I mean, I guess you got to look at everything. Fertility. And I kind of just want a little bit of infertility. I might even spade them. So let's just get this guy. That's a good one to get. And then a good female, probably her. More longevity, bigger, or a little bit smaller in size, which is fine. But I think rating's about the same. Let's go with her. Definitely costs a lot more, but that's fine. We got lots of money. Let's get them. And let's go ahead and send them over to our quarantine zone and kind of get them ready to go. So where could I put these guys? I kind of want to put another enclosure over here, but I wouldn't mind having something kind of open over here. I guess I'll have to kind of see. I got our bathroom there, which is great. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do over here. Probably something cool. Maybe just like some European buildings lining that. I think that'd be kind of neat. But let's get this kind of set up. So obviously, I'll maybe put it over here, and then I could put another enclosure over here. I guess let's kind of just get this set up. So 400 meters squared. Just for reference, I'm just going to see how big this is. So I think it's about, okay, land area plus water area. So combined, that's about 800. Maybe a little bit over 800. So that's actually pretty large. So yeah, it's definitely a good idea to split these up. So I can kind of do something similar. So let's just get a habitat gate. And I could probably, I mean, this is kind of going to be going in between. So I think it might be a good idea to have both of our entrances kind of just like in the middle / towards the back here. And that's definitely too long. Let's see how long we want to make this. Probably like a little bit longer, maybe like a 10. Now let's just go straight to there. That's definitely a good start. Then I'm also going to throw in another one right across from here, if I can, just to keep it nice and simple, make it look good. I think about right there, and then I can kind of do the same thing if I wanted. So let's just go right to there, and it should kind of match up, and I think that'll be quite symmetrical, so I'm excited about that. And then I will just quickly take this. I wish there's an easier way to do this, but I'm just gonna like take that and kind of just do that, and then I can make this longer with a curved area, and I'm just gonna try and go to the middle here. I think maybe about a 16, no, maybe a 15 meter length, and then I can kind of just curve that around, and then I could probably go right to there. What do I want to do? Yeah, that's probably fine, and then I'll just maybe take this way. I'm actually gonna go a little bit further if I can. I think a 16 meter would be a little bit more ideal. Okay, that should be good. And now I'll just take another little 1 meter, go out this way and kind of match that. And I guess I could probably get away with a longer one. Let's go with like something a little bit longer. Let's obviously follow the curvature of that. Let's try and go nice and straight here. Honestly, that's probably big enough. It doesn't need to be that big. Let's maybe go with just that. And in fact, I may end up moving just our gate here. Can I put it like... it's not going to let me. I'm just going to demolish that, actually. I'm just going to demolish that, and then I'm just going to take this and see if I can clean this up. Okay, there we go. That looks good. And then I'm just going to take this and make it... Can I make it shorter? No, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to delete that. And then I can put a new gate. So I'm just going to delete that as well. Let's just bulldoze that. No, that's not going to work. So let's just grab that. Delete that. Edit barrier, delete, and delete. And then grab our path and delete that as well. A little bit of a tedious process, but that works. I'm going to get our habitat kind of a little bit closer here because I don't want it that big. If I kind of just do maybe that instead, then I can literally just connect to there. That should be just fine. And then I will match the other side once the time comes. But I think that should actually look pretty good. I don't need this going much further than what it already is. And it's kind of cool to have a longer barrier. In fact, I might go a little bit longer here. If I can. Can I maybe... I'm going to delete that. And maybe do like a 14. Just to have a little bit bigger of a barrier. And let's kind of just do that. And then I can come right off of there. Nice and small. And start going out this way. So now I can grab this. Nice and big. And I'll kind of just curve this around. I probably want to match up that. So let's try like a 16. I want to try and match up with the center of that. I think maybe an 18 might be kind of perfect. That looks pretty good. So let's go across there. And then I'm just going to take this right across. And then I guess what I'll do is I'll come off of here and then see if we can go like that. That's actually kind of perfect. And then I'm just going to take that, connect it to there. Call it good. And I guess I could maybe go... Yeah, it just looks a little bit weird. Let's see if we can make this a little bit better. Grab the straight one and just do that. And then maybe kind of have it curved. Okay, so that should be good. A little bit wonky here, but that's the best I can do. That looks a little bit better. Let's take a look at how big that is. So 528, honestly, pretty ideal. And then I could probably match this side as well. Maybe if there's even a smaller animal, I could put it over there, but that's going to be perfect. 2 meters is kind of great as well. Let's just grab this. Yeah, 2 meters all the way around. We're going to need some clear glass here, so I'm just going to grab these 2 panels. If I can, you know what I might do? I'm actually going to delete this one, and I'm going to just match this side. Let's see if we can do this, and then I'm just going to grab this and hopefully connect it to here. And now if I grab both of these, they should be nice and symmetrical. So I kind of got the stone on either side. Let's throw some glass up there. And obviously I will need to Put them both facing that way. That is absolutely beautiful. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have the back kind of walkable. I guess I probably could. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. I wouldn't mind keeping it a little bit more cozy for the animal. So that should be just fine. Let's go ahead and add this work zone to our, or this to our work zone. Let's go to our staff, work zones, and let's edit this. And actually, we have all these buildings that we need to add as well. Let's add those, and those as well, and this habitat. So that's perfect. Now that is all added. Now I can imagine we need probably some more, maybe staff or something like that, but we are doing pretty good here. We got some donation bins. They've been making some pretty good money, so I'm happy with that. How is our profit? So we're currently losing a little bit of money, but I think once we get some more guests, that should help. Having another animal will definitely help with that. So let's get some stuff in here. So let's get some food first of all. And what the heck, a European badger it was called. I'm trying to think of what it was called. So let's go down here. So we got our European badger. So they maybe a large food bowl. Probably don't need that much, probably even just a small one. There's only 2 animals. Let's maybe put that maybe kind of like right there. Just nice and close to the entrance. And then a nice little trough maybe might be nice for them. I'm just going to put this maybe actually back here, just where they're kind of out of sight and they can drink in peace. But when they're eating, I think it'd be kind of cool for our guests to be able to see that. So that's kind of set up. Our zookeeper should be coming over here, and look at this. We already have some babies. Oh yeah, look at that little guy. He's running around. That's so cool. So they seem to be liking their little habitat. They got something to climb on. They might have a couple too many leaves over their heads, and I'm already seeing a little bit of an issue with this. I'm gonna have to lower that a little bit. Let's see. Let's get that a little bit lower. Okay, there, that's fixed. This habitat's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can build another nice habitat. These guys are like the mix between, I don't want to say a deer, like I live in Canada. I want to say like an elk and a mountain goat. They're actually kind of cool animals. They're huge. Kind of a little bit of a mix, but let's go to our quarantine zone and let's grab our badgers and let's move them into their new home. Okay, it looks like our new badgers are in their brand new home. Let's make these guys nice and happy. They seem to be about the same size, even though I think one was supposed to be a little bit bigger. This is our female. I don't think these guys can climb out. Can badgers climb? I don't really know. So let's get these guys nice and happy. Let's click on our female here. Let's go to our terrain. They do need some hard shelter, so let's maybe do that first. Let's build a nice little shelter for these guys. So we got our European badger checked off there. I don't know if this is too big for them. I think it probably is. What about these little burrow? I feel like that'd be kind of cool. A tiny little burrow hole, and I might even do something cool with this. Let's grab our terrain, and I want to lower this a tiny bit. And I kind of want to just create a little burrow hole, so let's maybe lower this a tiny bit. I'll do something like that. And I wouldn't mind having kind of just little areas for them to kind of just burrow down. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. There's a little bit higher spot here, so that actually looks pretty good. Let's lower this a tiny bit, and then I'm going to grab our flattening to foundation tool, make it nice and small, and I'm just going to create a little area just for our little burrow to kind of go. Let's see if I can make this. I'm just going to kind of put it in here. Let's see how that looks. Let's grab our habitat, go to here, and now we can kind of just throw this in here. Let's see if we can make this look good. Let's see. I don't want it to be, can I turn that off? What's going on with this thing? Like, I guess I could probably put it, I don't mind it like that. If I could kind of fix this, I feel like that would be, oh, this looks super weird. I'm going to fix that. Let's maybe see if I can spin this thing. Kind of put it like that even. Does that look really weird? I mean, it's kind of cool. I might be able to put like some rocks behind here to kind of hide it in, but that's actually pretty neat. Let's click on one of them and see if it's enough for them. So they, yeah, that's literally all they need for shelter. Now I might adjust our terrain a little bit more and kind of just smooth this out a tiny bit. Actually, I want to go down a tiny bit maybe. just to kind of make this whole area as comfy and cozy as possible. Kind of something like that. And over here, I'll actually raise it up a little bit. So that's actually not bad. I promise I will make this look good. So let's get the rest of them nice and happy. Terrain, they're actually pretty close to there. Let's go to terrain and see what they need. So they got probably enough short grass. They want less long grass. So let's maybe just get, maybe just kind of where they're burrowed, we can get some shorter grass. Yeah, they honestly, let's just get rid of all of it. I hate that tall grass. It's too tall. If you can have like a medium version of it, I feel like that would be kind of cool. But there we go. It still says we have lots of long grass, so that's fine. Let's get some soil and let's start painting in a little bit of soil, maybe kind of where they're denning and leading up to their little food dish there, and maybe kind of just going that way as well. And then a little bit lighter everywhere else. I still want it to look really good here. Kind of something like that. So honestly, that's probably enough soil. That actually looks pretty good. And let's get actually, they don't want any rock. They don't want any sand either. So they are nice and happy. They actually would be a little bit happy with some snow. Actually, I want to see. Where's our Zupedia? Are these guys okay with colder climates? -7 to... Oh, that's confusing. Is that -7 to -38? No, I think that's -7 to 38. So I think we're in that range. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is. Here comes some food for them, so they should be happy. And they got enough room to kind of run around. Let's get them some plants. So let's go by maybe temperate, because that's where we are. So I think that would make most amount of sense. And then obviously let's do Europe. So temperate and Europe, let's get them some cool trees. Maybe like one of these would be kind of cool, even kind of just next to their little burrow. Maybe kind of like right there. I think that would look pretty good. Maybe with like maybe a bush somewhere. I could maybe do something like this. Have a nice bush like right behind that. And then I could probably even have, no, maybe not like that. Let's see if we can get some other trees. We also have these other bushes that we could throw in here. And I kind of want to make this like really cool. Let's maybe get our rocks in here first. So let's go to temperate. And I want to get some kind of cool rock hidden behind here. So maybe kind of like that for that one. And then I could probably even get a smaller one. Maybe kind of just there. And then now I could probably get a cool little bush. We got this kind of bush. Maybe throw that in there with the rocks. And honestly, that's kind of cool. And I wouldn't mind another little, maybe some flowers mixed in with these, a little bit of flowers maybe popping up there. Or is that too much? I could probably even get them up here maybe. Just in that little spot. Maybe I think that's probably fine. And then as far as other trees, we got these like cool elm trees. That's pretty wicked. I think it's probably too big. I'd like to use that, but I think it might be a little bit too big. We also have these rose bushes. Maybe like a holly tree. Got some tiny ones. I wouldn't mind having like maybe a little holly tree somewhere. Maybe like right there. Coverage, still wants more plants. Looks like these guys enjoy their plants for sure. What else could we throw in here? A nice big oak tree, or a smaller one if there exists such a thing. No, those are like they're too bushy. Like honestly, something like this might be kind of cool. Might even be able to put this like maybe right there and kind of just lower it down a little bit so it's in the ground. Something like that, and maybe a little bit of some like kind of moss. I actually like that. A little bit of moss down there. And we also have these maple trees. I am Canadian, so I think a nice maple tree would be nice. Let's maybe just put that like right there. And then actually having something else, maybe like a smaller one somewhere would be kind of nice. I wouldn't mind having a nice big tree there. So honestly, that's probably good. That's good for coverage. I might move this one over a tiny bit just so it's a little bit more spread out, maybe kind of covering that a little bit, but I think that for the most part looks pretty nice. They can kind of eat in some shade if the sun ever comes that way. And they got their little denning area here. The only thing I'm hesitant about is this kind of covers a lot of this. But that's kind of what I want. Like, I want them to be able to go in there, be nice and happy. Let's click on these guys, make them even happier. So I think they're good with all of that. I am just going to get a couple more little bushes maybe in some of these spots. Like probably just like a little bush under the tree there maybe. And then maybe another one kind of just like up there. Honestly, that's probably fine. Oh, I actually like this tree too. Here's what I'm gonna do. I hate this tree for some reason. I'm just gonna get this one instead. And then I can actually kind of angle it wherever I want. So it's kind of, I wouldn't mind putting that kind of in the corner like that. That's actually really cool. That looks a lot better to me. And then we also have some other little bushes that we can. I don't really want rose bushes per se. Some flowers might be kind of nice. A little bit of flowers kind of mixed in with this. Let's see if we can just kind of put them just kind of under the tree like that. Do I like that? I don't really know if I like that. That's kind of the smallest version. Maybe a little bit further over might be a little bit better. A little bit of flowers and maybe a bigger version of that. Maybe kind of just over there. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. They're coming in, filling all that. Let's see if he's gonna fill. Are you gonna fill the dish? Accessible quantity. There's no what? Oh, keeper. We need some. Oh, you know what I gotta do? Oh no, it's actually set. Let's make sure. Let's go to our staff work zones. I think, yeah, that's all in the same zone. So they should be working on that. You got all of your staff here. Unassigned staff, so you need a work zone. So let's put you to the whole zoo. And then, oh, I also have some more here. Let's set all of you to the entire zoo. So that's all of our staff, it looks like. Let's go to our staff. I think, yeah, they're all set to there. So what I might even do is get another keeper now that there's 2 habitats. Let's get another keeper. And then I could also get a security guard maybe now that we're making a little bit of money. An educator might actually be nice. And we need to figure out a place for our generator to go. Now, here's what I could do. I might get... Let's go to our facilities. Let's get our generator going. Where the heck is that? Utilities. We need a transformer. So this could go right here. Now, I want to hide this a little bit better. So I'm okay with it going there. And then I'll probably get some kind of like hedge to put around this or something. Let's see if I can find a hedge. I think I saw something here. So you kind of got these ones. That might be our best bet, but they are nowhere near tall enough. Unless I kind of flip them somehow. Could probably flip them like that and then raise them up, but honestly, that's probably not tall enough. So maybe just like a wall. I'd kind of like to just get a wall. And I could just kind of build this up right around here. Kind of just like this. I'll maybe do a little bit shorter, but maybe a 6 meter. That should be perfect. And then I can kind of just fence this in. And it'll even match our other one. This is kind of a nice little hack, actually. Actually, instead of doing that, I'm going to grab this and go out. Put a 6 and oh, I don't know if that's... Actually, I'm going to go from here. I think it's right on there. I think if I go right there, maybe I should be able to just connect to there. Grab these and connect to that. That's absolutely perfect. This one's a little bit messed up, but that is fine. That looks a lot better. Let's trim the grass a little bit here. There's definitely some grass in there that I don't like. So our transformer's in there. It is nice and hidden away. And I will just grab our path and make sure only our staff can enter in through there. That's good. Now we have power into this whole area. So that definitely frees up a lot of opportunities. So we also have these guys in here. Looks like we got some power to those now. That is excellent. So that should definitely help educate our guests. And let's actually get a couple of speakers as well. So I'm going to get these set up. First, let's get some donation bins. And I still have to put some other things in here, so I'll make sure to do that. I'll probably put one there, maybe one on that side. And that's probably good, to be honest. And then I'm just going to grab this, duplicate that, and right in the middle I can put one of these. Just because it's kind of a smaller habitat. And I'll just switch it to our European Badger, and Bob is your uncle. Can I name one of these Bob? I feel like I should do that. Can I name this guy? His name's Nick. Okay, we'll keep Nick around. Habitat's good. Environment is good. You need some enrichment items. So let's take care of you a little bit here. So European Badger, that's good. Let's get a Skittle feeder. They prefer the... What's your favorite? I mean, this isn't actual Skittles, but I mean, for the sake of the video, I'm like a red guy. I actually like the purple package where it's like all the tropical ones or whatever that is. We also have a dog ball. Let me know what your favorite Skittles are in the comments. That might actually roll into there. That might go right into the den, actually. Okay, so that's good. We got some good enrichment. And then we also... Wait, that's for food? Dog ball. Interesting. So these guys are like literally dogs. Let's get a sprinkler for them. Right there. And we got a tennis ball, which is kind of cool. So we need to get the Africa back. So definitely like the video to see the African video so we can get that DLC. And maybe a blood scent little thing here. I want to see if I can put that there just so it doesn't raid that up too much. Then I guess you can kind of see the blood on there. Okay, so that should be good. They seem nice and happy now. So that makes me happy. I think I could probably make this look a little bit better. Let's maybe grab our soil and get some more of that in here. They don't like a whole lot of sand. But I think that definitely just livens it up. Like the ball's just rolling around everywhere. They seem nice and happy now. I think for the most part they are 100% happy. They got some food now and they have hopefully some water. Okay, so we got that. These guys are nice and happy. Let's get a couple more bins to make our guests, so I guess not our guests happy, but our janitors. Let's put one there, and that should be plenty. We got our generator, so that's awesome. What else do we want? I feel like I could probably benefit from some of these. Ambient speaker, those are nice, but I want one of our educational speakers. So if I have one of these, I will have to be a little bit careful where I put these. So I could probably put this like right in the middle, or I could probably put them like kind of on the corners. Let's see how that works out. So let's go Alpine Ibex and see how big of a range this kind of covers. So I think if I could kind of cover that, that should be good. And honestly, I might even move this over, but I'm going to duplicate this and put it over here. They kind of just intersect in the middle, so I'm going to move this a little bit closer. Let's maybe put that there because I want them to kind of meet in the middle, but I don't want them to overlap. So I think honestly that's probably pretty good. We'll have just a little bit of an overlap. People don't need to be just hearing about them the entire time. And then back here, this is where all of these are going to be. So I'm going to duplicate that and put one right under there. Just for these guys. Our European Badger. So now we can adjust this. Probably just like that. Should be fine. Else maybe, yeah, just basically where the donation bins are. So that's probably good. We can tell our European Badgers about, our people about the European Badgers. Okay, so that should be fine. I don't know if these guys will duplicate. So I think I will apply some contraceptives to them to prevent them from breeding. Where's the other one? I think they might be in here. Oh yeah, there is one in there. Then we can put contraceptives on there. Look at that. They kind of go into their little den. You can't see them. Oh no. But there they go. Kind of sucks that people can't even see them right now. But let's go ahead and spin for our next animal and see what we get. Okay, so we have left a fire salamander. So I imagine that's in our habitats. Our Eurasian lynx and our, oh my gosh, I gotta tilt my head for this, European fallow something. So let's spin and see what we end up getting. The lynx is pretty cool actually. So it looks like you might even actually get that. Okay, so we have our Eurasian lynx. That is quite exciting. Let's hop back into the game and see what those guys look like. Okay, Eurasian lynx, let's see what you look like. So let's go to our animal market. Let's see what they look like. So let's just type in lynx. Seems a little bit easier. So Eurasian lynx. Oh, look at these little guys. So basically just a lynx, but just maybe a little bit different coloring. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Oh, Igor Yoke. Igor Yoke, is that how you say that? Zoopedia. Let's see what they like. So these guys actually like a little bit more space, it looks like. I can honestly just get one of these. I think a little family might be kind of nice, and the more you add, it actually adds quite a bit of space. So this might have to be a little bit bigger of a habitat, and I'll have to kind of do something around this. I wonder if I could actually use this fence as the habitat. That'd actually be really cool. Honestly, I think I probably can. So I don't know if I want to have them here. Honestly, I might as well. And then I could probably build to the other side. I think maybe exhibit over here might be kind of nice. So I'm going to save that for our salamander. So let's figure this out. Where could we get our little gate? Now I could probably just connect that right to like here. I'm just going to put that right there. And then this I'm going to get rid of. And then I can actually make it a little bit shorter. Potentially, like honestly right there. Maybe like a 6 might be kind of perfect. Oh, that's too far. Okay, let's maybe do a 5. And then I can actually just adjust where this gate is. So I can actually just move this back a tiny touch. Oh, I might have to just delete it. Let's delete that, and then I can get my gate in here again. And let's put this right there, just so it looks as good as possible. I want this nice and straight, so let's just put that right there. And then we can grab this. Oh, let's go back. I want that gate to be there still. Now let's just connect right to there. And then I can literally just use this barrier for the entire lynx habitat. So that's kind of sweet. So let's grab this. Let's go out a little bit. I don't know how far I want to go out. Probably a little bit further since we need, what, 1,000 meters? And this one, actually, what was this one again? This one was 528, so we need literally double the size of that, which should be fine, but it's going to be a cool little habitat. I'm actually excited to see what this looks like. Let's come out a little bit further here. Just to about there, and honestly, that should be pretty ideal. Let's just come out this way, straight out to about there, and now I can start curving around this way, kind of just like this. Actually, let's maybe go a little bit further out and then kind of in. I think that should be pretty good. And then I'm just gonna come right off of here, nice and straight. Let's see what I want to do with that. So this is where you can just add one. And let's maybe actually go right off of here. I think that should work. Yeah, there we go. Is that curved? It's kind of curved, but not really. So I might have to actually do this. So let's just come off of here. And now I can add one of these. So let's kind of do the same thing. Let's kind of split this down the middle. So if I can get it to about there, maybe a 14 might be good. Look at, get some albine ibexes maturing. So that's kind of cool. Let's put that about there, and honestly right there is perfect. So now I will grab just a 2 meter and come out this way. And then I can go all the way back to about probably there. Let's actually do a 13. Kind of just like that. And then just straight towards, actually if I aim it right towards that, that should be pretty ideal. And now I have a one thing on either side, so that's perfect. Let's curve this around and connect it right to there. So now we have a nice big enclosure, including this. So that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know you could really do that. So let's see what the size is. We got 1200. Absolutely perfect. That could not be more perfect. So let's get some of these. Let's get a male. Maybe one with good longevity. This guy's got bad fertility and immunity. So he's probably not super ideal. Let's get this one. Oh, but you know, you got to kind of save those ones too. I don't know. We'll have to see. We could probably get, what's good longevity? Fertility. It's got good fertility. Let's go Sophia. Let's adopt that one. I think that would be a good one to get. So we're there waiting in the trade center. I don't know, for some reason I only like getting 2 at a time. I feel like I should maybe get 3, but it's kind of nice. Just like a mom and dad, they start a family, you know, it's kind of cool little story. Okay, that's fine. Oh, what do we got? We got somebody watching. I didn't know you could even do that. I might have to turn that off. So let's go to work zones. Let's edit this here work zone. Let's add this. And I think that should be pretty good. So let's maybe even get another. I think all of our staff should be kind of attached to that. Actually, we got our other keeper, so that's good. Let's get that one going. And we have our security guard. I forgot I got all these. Then all of these are kind of working everywhere, so that is excellent. Now let's get some food for these guys. So let's go to Habitat. Same kind of thing. Let's get some food for our lynx. Let's go to our species and Eurasian lynx right there. So I can get a large food tray. I think a food tray might be kind of cool. Let's actually get a large one. So I feel like, yeah, kind of like that. I might maybe put it kind of on an angle like that. And it's actually a really nice enclosure. I'm going to fix this really quick. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to add this just so it's nice and symmetrical. And then I can connect all the way to there. So now on both sides, it kind of looks like that. It's a little bit cooler. And then I might even have to add... no, it's probably fine. Let's just make all of this glass, and then I think it should look pretty seamless. And then I can switch it all to the inside. And then over here, I'll also need a little bit of glass, because I think our people should be able to come this way. So I think that's good. This might actually be the end of my zoo going this way. But I'm going to take a path coming right off of here. Just a size 5 should do. And I'm going to get it going kind of just around here. And actually, let's take this a little bit further. Size 7. That's what we want. And let's go maybe like another 2. Maybe a 3 just so I can connect to it nicely. Nice and straight coming out there. And now I can just connect this. Go back to a 5. And I should be able to connect that nicely. That looks pretty good, actually. So now I need to decide, do I want to make these barriers? So I got these 2. This looks a little bit weird. I might actually just get rid of that, and then as well as this. And then let's just take this and see if we can connect it right up to there, maybe. Let's go as long as we can. I should be able to connect it there. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Unless I go from here. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So that... okay, let's maybe do a 19. And then over here, I can also do a 19, and then I should be able to just connect to there. So that's perfect. Oh, we have a... we have a runaway. So let's do emergency capture. And then we can move you back into here. How do we move you? Cancel move? Or maybe they're coming to get him. So let's just leave him for a bit. Yeah, they're running over. That's hilarious. Okay, so now I can actually make both of these glass. And it looks pretty nice and seamless. So that should be perfect. And then we'll also need a couple of donation bins on this side. Let's maybe get this glass. I wouldn't mind a little bit more glass just right there. And then maybe one over here as well. Just so people can kind of see in, and that looks pretty good. Got the smoked out area on the insides. Both of those are good. So now let's put some donation bins in here and then we can kind of get everything set up. Let's duplicate this. Take this, maybe one here, one there, one over here, and then one over here where people might gather up. We will grab our bins and keep everything nice and seamless if we can. I might actually just put a bin like right there instead, and maybe kind of on the corners. Maybe on the corners, kind of just like that. And then maybe kind of one at the end here. Might even put a bathroom over here. I'll kind of have to decide what I want to do with that. That actually might be a pretty good spot for that. And then over here, I'll put another bin. And then over here, I'll also get a couple of those kind of on the corners. And then I'll also need to get some more donation bins over here, won't I? Let's throw those in. Maybe one there, one there. And what the heck? Let's grab another one of these. Hopefully we have power over here. Do I want one? I'll probably get one here and then one over here. This makes me want to go to the zoo. I'm not gonna lie. This really makes me want to go to the zoo. I'm going to cut some of this grass. Let's get some short grass in throughout here. Kind of cut the grass there. And make sure everything is looking tip-top shape for our guests. And then throughout here, I'm going to cut the grass as well. Let's actually go a nice big size. So we can literally just do this a little bit quicker. Pretty ideal. Okay, that's good. Go a little bit smaller, and then I can cut all of this nice and seamless. So that should look pretty good now. We got our bins kind of set up. I also need maybe another one. Yeah, I got to get this set up, but I need our animals in here first. Let's go back to habitat. We need a little water bowl for these guys. So let's get to put a water bowl. Maybe right there is fine. Make sure it's not floating. Okay, we got food, we got water. We don't know what's going in here yet, so... Or they don't know, at least I do. We do. Let's move these guys into this habitat. And see what they look like. So they're going to run them over. Not with the car. They're going to run them. Dumb joke. Okay, so they're coming. Actually, what size do they need? I never actually looked at what height they need. So 10 feet, okay. And grade 3 climb proof. So that will have to be climb proof. And 10 feet. So about 3 meters, about 9 feet. So we need about 3.5 meters. Let's actually just select our entire enclosure if we can. So that's actually all of this. And we can raise this to about 3.5 meters. And that should be high enough. And if we could also add climb proofing. How the heck do you do that? So flat top. Yeah, these guys might be able to climb out. I don't really know if they can though. It's definitely high enough. Let's see if I can edit just this barrier. How do you do that again? Oh, this is actually just a not climbable barrier. This one is climbable, so this one you have to put climbable proof at the top. This one's also climbable, but this is not climbable. So that should be perfect. That's all we really need to do. So they are in their habitat now. We need to get some food over here. A suitable food for our Eurasian lynx, please. And some water if you wouldn't mind. So let's take a look at these little guys. Oh, these are actually pretty. They might be bigger versions of a lynx that I would see around here. I haven't really seen one. We kind of got like, yeah, we got lynx. I think a lynx is a smaller bobcat kind of thing. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. You guys know more about this stuff than me. Let's make these guys nice and happy. But first things first, let's take care of our terrain. What do we want to do? Do these guys climb a lot? I feel like some kind of cool mountain like we have over here would be kind of sweet. We need a hard shelter first, so let's maybe put that in here. What we can do... Yeah, they kind of like Stuff like that, maybe in Arctic. This is a Eurasian one. I don't know if I could probably have a little snowy shelter. That might actually be kind of cool. Because obviously, yeah, they like snow. I gotta do that. I'm actually going to get that. So let's have a nice snowy shelter. I could probably throw some snow on top of this. So I could probably have this maybe kind of just there for that first little shelter. And then I wouldn't mind having another little shelter just for them. Over here, let's lower it a tiny bit. Now let's maybe go right in the corner there just to make them a little bit happier. Maybe get a little bit of denning stuff here. Kind of something like that. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. So they got some nice shelter in here, so that makes me happy. Let's get some terrain. So I want to put some snow in here. They're good for grass. Maybe a little bit of soil, which I don't know how this is really going to look once the snow goes down, but let's just throw in some soil. So kind of around here, they'll kind of play around. We'll probably play around here a little bit as well. That's plenty of soil. Let's get a little bit of rock for them as well. Maybe just some nice rough rock. Let's get some rough rock, why not? Just a little bit kind of littered throughout here, maybe around there. Just make this look kind of lived in. Okay, that's probably good. And now let's throw some snow down for these guys. Let's throw down. Let's paint some snow in here. And this, for some reason, is not staying snow. I think it's just because it's so hot out right now. So I might have to adjust the temperature in here. So yeah, we'll definitely put some snow in here. Then I'll kind of just paint all of this in. So that should be good. That got rid of a lot of our rock. Whoa, we haven't... What got out? What? What would have gotten out? Oh, yep, they can definitely climb that. Okay, this might have to go. Oh no, that's not good. So hopefully our vet can go get these guys. Let's call a vet to go take him out. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so they can climb that apparently. But they can't climb this, they could just climb our shelter. So that is good that it did that. We got all this snow in here now. I think what I might have to do is just get our little temperature thing so we can get a cooler. And this actually affects a pretty big area. So what if I put this right in the middle and then maybe one over here? Let's see if I can do that. And maybe let's put this at like minus 12 degrees Celsius. Let's see if I can do that. And that one looks about the same. And then hopefully that kind of makes this suitable. Oh my gosh, yeah, look, they can literally just climb that. That's crazy. How did you get up there? What the heck? Okay, so that literally works. So then once you put your cooler in and now your snow starts to show up. So I could probably even move this one over a little bit maybe. Yeah, I could probably do that. And now it's probably gonna, yeah, let's actually lower our range here a little bit. Where is... Okay, so our range... Let's see. So it kind of does that whole area. Let's do a little bit bigger. That's probably pretty good. I guess let's do like a 15 just to make sure we get those corners. And then we kind of meet in the middle. What about this one? So this range... I wish I kind of showed you as you were doing that. So that should be pretty good. I don't want to make our guests freezing cold right through here. So let's see if we can adjust this. Yeah, that would affect those guests. Let's lower that to like a 16. That might be a little bit better. I like that. So I might even need a few of these. What the heck? Let's do this instead. I'm going to duplicate these. I'm going to have one in the corner here. One in the corner there. One in this kind of corner. One over here. And then maybe one kind of in the middle. And then I'm just going to delete these ones. So let's see what these guys want. So -12, that should be good. I'm going to see what that kind of looks like. So obviously these ones, I'm going to have to make a lot smaller. That should be fine. This one, I'm going to have to make quite a bit smaller. Just so it doesn't freeze our entire guests. Or all of our guests. That's pretty small area. Maybe go to like an 8, and then this might be a little bit tricky. Let's move these around. That kind of keeps everything spread out quite nicely. I don't know if this can really affect our guests. It might be a little bit cold. But I mean, they came to see animals. Let's maybe do like a 13. I think 11 should be good there. And then this last little spot, yeah, a lot of these guests are going to be pretty chilly. Let's do like a 10 there. And see if that kind of affects it. Actually, the coolness might be kind of nice. It's like, yeah, plus 26 out, so they might actually kind of enjoy that. So let's do that. Oh, this looks so dumb. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this... I could probably put this cooler maybe just under here. And then make our range bigger. And then I will have to adjust this as well. I think I'll just go for aesthetics. They wouldn't mind the coolness a little bit, I think. They're probably fine with it. And then over here, nobody's even going to come this way. So I think that should be good. Over here, I could definitely make this as big as possible. I just want to put lots of snow over here. I don't know. Okay, there we go. We got lots of snow coming this way now. And then what the heck? Let's put one more just in this area. And then that should be good. Let's just make that kind of just like that. The current temperature, that is decreasing. They should be nice and happy with that. I don't know. But let's see what they like. So they actually would like more short grass, which is a little bit insane. Maybe we have too much rock in here or something. Yeah, I think we do have a little bit too much rock. And we got rid of snow. They would like a little bit more long grass maybe. But yeah, some of this can kind of go in here. And then I can get some soil kind of throughout here. Just to make it look a little bit better. And we still have too much rock. Yeah, I definitely want to put some soil in here. I think that would be kind of nice. And then some more short grass. Which our snow will kind of impede with that a little bit, but I think it'll look pretty good anyway. Let's get some more short grass, and then we still have too much rock. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a base of all... Yeah, I'm getting rid of all of my snow, but I just want to get rid of all the rock that was in here, and then I can put our snow in here again. I can do something like that. So we got lots of grass. I want a little bit more long grass. Kind of throughout here. We would like some more soil. Let's definitely get some more soil in here. That would be good. A little bit more long grass. Rock we still have plenty of, so I want to make sure I get rid of most of that. But let's definitely put our snow back in here. Now this kind of just covers all of that, so I think it should be fine. Let's definitely get our stuff in there. That gets rid of rock, but that gets rid of a lot of short grass, which we can also just put back. Let's just put a little bit of grass around here. This wouldn't really be snowy because it is covered. Let's definitely put some grass in there. And then you got to cover that with some of that. There's a little bit of a controversy though. Probably over here, let's put a little bit of grass just where they kind of move throughout here. Kind of like a little track, and then over here a little bit. And then maybe kind of just over here, because they'll probably end up playing in this area. Let's just kind of go for aesthetics. Let's make it look a little bit nicer. We don't want it all snow. I think that looks pretty good. And then we still have too much rock somehow. I don't really know where this rock is, but that's probably fine. For the most part, they are happy. Let's get some plants for these guys. So Europe, temperate. Actually, let's go taiga, or maybe like tundra would be kind of cool. Let's maybe do that. No, let's maybe do is probably about the same. Let's just do something like that. So Europe, taiga, let's get... Honestly, don't love these trees. We got some pine trees, which are kind of cool. Let's get maybe one there. Maybe another one. I don't really like getting the same ones. I could probably have another one of these. Maybe kind of like that. See what kind of coverage these guys need. And I wouldn't mind having one of these. Kind of just... maybe over here, actually. Might be kind of nice. Get as much coverage as we can. And then we also have this one. Which they're all different varieties, which is kind of nice. Let's kind of put that there. And then I can put some bushes under there. Really do anything I want. We got some, like, cool trees over here as well that we can throw in. Maybe even do something cool with this. Kind of have something for them to climb. Hopefully that's not close enough that they can jump out of there. But I think that should be pretty good. Let's go to Tundra here and see what we have. Not a whole lot. Go back to Taiga maybe. What else do we have? We got these, like the Twilight package. That'd be kind of cool. And also we have some bushes that we can throw in here. Let's maybe get some of those. Let's get some bushes kind of in the bottom of all of these. Maybe kind of at the back there. And then in some of these spots that kind of just require some. And then maybe a little bit over here as well. They're kind of just denning a little bit. But that should be fine. What else do we have? Do we have any other cool little bushes? We got those, which would be kind of cool. We got this like moss that we could put up here, which would be kind of sweet. So we can literally just throw this on top of here. If it would look good. Let's actually try and align to surface. So then it should actually like conform to it. Yeah, there we go. That looks a lot better. And let's put a little bit over here as well. A little bit of moss. I think that might actually like that. And what about some like leaves? Maybe a little bit of moss over here as well. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. A little bit there. Okay, that is looking nice. I want some other trees, so let's maybe get some like poplar trees. What else could I get? We get a little tree there, why not? They still want a lot more coverage here. They are persnickety little fellows, aren't they? So let's maybe get maybe a common ash tree. Maybe kind of like right there. And maybe a smaller one. Kind of just by that. Or maybe just like right there. I feel like that'd be good. They still want more. Wow, okay, so let's maybe get like some cypress trees or something. Elm tree. I could probably get one there. And then another version of that I'd like to put like back here. So that is enough coverage for them for the most part. In fact, I could probably even get... I want to put... Can I put snow on like these in these trees somehow? I also got some holly trees. Let's get some more bushes here. So we got like rose bushes that we can throw in here. Be kind of cool to have a rose bush or two kind of back there. And some hawthorn bushes might be kind of neat. Just kind of throughout here. Actually, let's lower that a tiny bit. And some more little areas. I could probably just put a few of these in here. What else could I do? Honestly, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I would like something for them to kind of climb. So let's just see what they need for enrichment. Let's go to here, go to enrichment. They would like... So I guess let's do food enrichment first. Let's get them pinata pronghorn. Probably some candy in there. Let's maybe put him right out in the open. Actually, let's put him, lower him just so he's not on anything. There we go. We also have these cool rotation feeders. So now we could probably put this somewhere kind of in the trees here, maybe. I feel like that'd be a kind of cool spot. That's enough food enrichment. Let's get some toys. I feel like we could get like a rubbing pad. Probably put that right next to the tree there so you can kind of see. Scratching post over there. Maybe even a scratching tree just because they like trees so much. Maybe one in there as well. And honestly, that's probably pretty good. Maybe a block of ice too, why not? For them to kind of play with. So we got lots here, we got lots of food. They should be nice and happy. I don't know if they want anything to climb. I'd still like to do something. Let's maybe go habitat and climbable. Yeah, there we go. Now we got some things that we could probably put in here. Honestly, just having this in here might be kind of cool. Like they can enter in through here, climb up to the top. That's actually perfect. They got a little climbing area now. Look at that. They might actually use it. Let's see. Let's see if he ends up using it. He's going to scratch on this thing. Maybe. So I got some snow. It's not freezing. Like it's minus 12 I put in here. So that's actually like in Celsius. That's kind of like, yeah, that'd still be grass a little bit. I think it's feasible. I could probably even make it like minus 5. Let's maybe do that. Let's switch all of these to minus 5. Let's go a little bit warmer. Minus 5. That's still enough to this for the snow to be good. And of course, I'll have to adjust all of these. Where's the rest of them? Make it about minus 5. This one as well. And I think that will be a little bit better for them. Under here, I could maybe make it a little bit warmer. Might make it a little bit more like minus 3 maybe. Just kind of where they're hanging out. And it's still plus 26 out. So I mean, that's probably as cool as I can make it without making it entirely enclosed. And look how cool this looks. I didn't even plan on doing that. That actually looks really cool. Now, I don't know if they can climb trees here. But I don't really want to find out the hard way, but I guess we will just have to. That's pretty epic. We have our Eurasian lynx. So now we have a couple other ones. Let's head over to our wheel. And I want to see if we can get like an exhibit going here. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got 2 left. Our fire salamander and our European fallow deer, maybe? Is that what that says? Let's see what we end up getting. Probably our... Yeah, let's see what it says. European fallow deer. I was right. Okay, let's hop back into the game and see what those guys look like. Okay, let's head on over here and see what they look like. Let's type in deer and see what... So we got European fallow deer. Whoa. Okay, that's kind of like a moose mixed with a white-tailed deer mixed with an elk. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm actually excited for this. Martino, I gotta get him. In fact, I'm just gonna get him. He's got good longevity. Size isn't huge. And I guess if we want a male deer, yeah, we gotta go with Aslan. Oh, it's a no-brainer. Aslan. I mean, Martino, I could probably get him too, honestly. Let's adopt him, and then we can kind of see the difference between sizes. Longevity, 100%. Ashley, what are you eating, girl? Okay, let's get them over here. Send them to our quarantine zone real quick. I imagine they probably need a pretty big area. But let's kind of see what we got here. Oh, this guy's big too. I kind of want to see like 100% size. Yeah, I don't know. Fertility. This guy's really good. Wait, do we get him too? Rolo? Yeah, what the heck? Let's do it. Let's adopt Rolo. We want... Or no, who... let's take you. Send to our quarantine zone as well. So we got 3 of them coming. That's exciting. We also got Caden. Should we just keep going till we get Rui? A giant one. So these guys are so cool. That's actually interesting because they got white spots. Usually that goes away after they become... after their Bambi years goes away. So let's see. So Europe, United Kingdom, Portugal, Spain, France, lots of places. They're literally everywhere in Europe. That's kind of cool. They actually don't need a huge area. I can imagine we're probably going to end up like 6 of these guys. So honestly, let's just build like a pretty big space for them, which might be kind of nice. So let's do that. let's get a space ready for them. I'll probably end up just getting another habitat here. I need to kind of save a spot just for our... Let's maybe do that. I'm just going to quickly get our facilities. Let's go to... We have these habitats, so I'm going to see if we have one for Europe. We want a nice Europe habitat. I don't know if we have one, actually. We got these shops. Okay, well, that kind of sucks. Let's just go to habitat. Let's see. We got these African... Oh, wait, what? Animal exhibits. That's what I wanted. Okay, so now let's see if there's a European one. It's probably right here. Yeah, European medium and a large. So this one will actually give us, it looks like 2. That's actually so cool. And it's like on a wooden thing. And we also have the European large one. Now, this is kind of a no-brainer, and I want to be able to have lots of space. So I think I'll probably just put this like right across from here. And then if I can, I kind of want to just draw a path all the way around here. And then people can kind of look at this giant exhibit. This is actually so cool. So I'm going to go maybe even a little bit closer here. Let's see what we got. So 5, if we kind of go maybe right in the middle here. Let's go right to about there. And then we can kind of just wrap around this way. Let's actually go back. Let's take this a little bit longer. No, maybe not. Let's just leave that there for now. Let's go off of here and then kind of match this side if we can. Let's kind of do something like that. Kind of do the same length. And then I may be able to just line this up kind of perfectly. Let's come off of that one. Oh man, this might be a little bit tricky. Okay, right there. Absolutely perfect. Okay, that looks really good. And now I can get some paths for all of these. Hopefully. Let's maybe just get a... Oh, what do I want to do with that? I can kind of see both sides. I guess what I'll do is I'll just get... Yeah, I can't really do that. Let's get one there. And then I can also get one here, but that just looks so weird. How do I do like a double? Do I just adjust the width and then see if there's like a... No, that's not gonna work. I could maybe try this. Let's do like a 4. Yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. Oh my gosh, it literally knows exactly what I want. That couldn't have worked out any better. Okay, that looks really good. So that's kind of ready for our salamanders. I think I'd like to get my deer enclosure kind of over here if I can. So I could literally just take a barrier right off of here, and I guess what do I want to do? I'm actually going to have the enclosure like right... No, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's have it like right here on the other side of here. I could go around here. Let's maybe adjust this. Let's curve this around all the way to here, and then I'll actually take this like right to about the halfway point. Doesn't have to go super far. Let's go maybe 8. And I'll take it right to there. And let's leave that just for now. Let's take this and just go right to the edge if possible. Let's actually do a nice straight one. So we can take that right to the edge there. Let's maybe go back a tiny bit just so it looks as symmetrical as possible. So that looks good. And then we can take this nice and straight this way. And then I'd like to go a little bit further if possible. So let's take this to like maybe like a 16. And then about there. I'm actually happy with that. And then let's take this up I don't know if I want to like wrap it around. Let's kind of just do something like that. And then I could maybe curve this section a little bit. Let's go straight with this one. See if we can actually straighten this out. Let's see. Nice and straight, and then I'll just curve the rest in a little bit here. Kind of just like this. And then maybe do something kind of cool. Go out this way. And then I can just literally wrap around and connect back to there. So let's go a little bit further here. Let's make this a little bit shorter. And then I can kind of do that. And I think that should work out pretty good. Got a little thing here. Sweet. This is a nice habitat. I think this should be plenty big enough. 2,400, but I could also put other animals in there. Like I could probably actually mix the species a little bit. I feel like that'd be kind of cool. But we got these guys in here looking pretty good. You know what we don't have here actually? We don't have any TVs or whatever you want to call these things. So let's get one just for our badgers. Or actually our lynx, sorry. Let's put one right there. And one right here. I could probably put it like right there maybe. Okay, that should be good. Let's do Eurasian lynx. Eurasian lynx. And that should be just fine. So now we got this huge enclosure. I might kind of fix this little area. Let's see if we can just grab this and no, don't want to do that. Let's try again. Grab that. Grab that. Let's see if we can kind of angle this out a tiny bit. Or we can just try this and just make it make sense. There. That's a lot better. Okay, let's get our glass in here. Now, since it's so big, I want people to actually be able to see this thing. So let's make this whole side glass all the way up to there. Let's set that to the appropriate side. And then all the way over here as well. I'm going to do our one-way glass. I can do that, and then people should be able to see a lot of these animals. So that should be good. I want to see how big they need to be. So let's see. How big does this have to be? So 4.5 feet. So honestly not that big. 2 meters is just fine. That allows for about 6 feet. So that should be perfect. And then it matches the rest of our habitats. So that should actually be really nice. And then our last little salamander can go in there. That's looking absolutely epic. Okay, so let's get these guys in here. Let's move them over from our quarantine zone. We got all of these guys, 4 deer. We got 3 males and 1 female. Poor girl. We need to get her a friend. Okay, let's get them in here. And then as far as our habitat, we need to get some food and water for these guys. So let's go to our European deer. Fallow deer. So European fallow deer. And we can get a nice big trough. We'll actually need quite a few of these. I could probably have one there. And maybe like a medium back here. And a nice large, honestly, let's get like just a large water trough, like right over here. And maybe a little water pipe kind of in the corner. Might be kind of nice. So that's good. As far as our paths, I want to make sure that these are set up properly. So let's make sure only they can kind of enter those. That as well, and that should be kind of good. And that's set up for a nice big exhibit. So here comes our first deer. Look at these things. These things are so cool. Yeah, it's literally like a moose mixed with a deer mixed with an elk. That's the best way I can describe it. That's actually so cool. So let's get these guys nice and happy. Let's see what these guys like. So hard shelter for sure. And I think I know just the one. Let's get beds and shelters. Ooh, we actually got some cool options. These guys could also probably live in the winter because they live in like Ukraine, Russia, a lot of different places. Oh, this is a must. That's so cool. I'm actually going to put that literally right there. So they live in a lot of cold climates. So, oh, look at that. He's ready for a fight. Or he's taking a dump or something. Who knows what he's doing. That is a cool little shelter. That's definitely enough shelter for them. And let's get a few little denning things for them. Kind of just under here. A little bit there as well. So that should be plenty. I get one there as well. Are these guys fighting? I gotta catch this. I just kind of wish that I'll probably end up seeing them fight again. I'll try to get that for the intro. I wish it was a little bit better in here, so sorry if that's a terrible clip. Oh, this is an outsider. Gender ratio. Ooh, Martino. They don't like him. Okay, that's an issue. Let's use Martino here. Terrain, hard shelter we got enough of. Let's edit our terrain a little bit here. I am going to keep it grassy. It'd be kind of cool to have a little bit more snow, but we definitely need some more short grass. So let's just put in all short grass everywhere. We need to kind of clean up all of this anyway. So we can do that. So we got lots of short grass in here now. That's perfect. Long grass, that's fine. Soil. We need some soil kind of throughout here. Oh, so sorry. Light soil. Let's put them kind of just where all of this stuff would be. And actually, before I forget, I need to set these guys to the work zone. Otherwise, they will not get food. So let's put all of those. Oh, that's a problem. And that, so that's good. Might even get another worker, in fact. Let's get another keeper. Throw him down there. And Polly Hensley. Let's set him to the whole zoo as well. And let's do a little bit of an emergency keeper assigned. Okay, so let's actually call them to fill these things up. Okay, there we go. Now they're going to get some food for them. That's perfect. And now we need to get a couple other things. So let's put our terrain down here again. Get a little bit more soil. So definitely around here, we'll put some soil. A little bit kind of around here. They definitely like soil. So let's get as much of that as we can. And it always just looks so good in a habitat. Like, let's put lots near their water trough. Their kind of food. It actually looks pretty good. A little bit around there. I like that. And now let's get, I guess that's kind of it. Let's get a little bit more long grass where you see a little bit of grass. Kind of just along the edges. I feel like they might kind of appreciate that. I might even get another one of these, to be honest. Actually, we don't have enough short grass now, so let's get a little bit more of that. That should be just fine. Let's get some more. Wait, what? They're actually good with what they have, but I guess let's do just temperate. They got grassland too. Temperate Europe. Let's get some cool trees for these guys. So I'm gonna get one maybe kind of overhanging, maybe even back. I don't want to put this tree. Maybe kind of just like there. And maybe like an apple tree or something. Let's get an apple tree over there. Deer love apples. I'm assuming they do. Who doesn't like apples? Maybe get kind of a couple little apple trees throughout here. And I also like these Aleppo trees. I don't usually use these just because the bark looks a little bit weird, but honestly, kind of cool, and they work in here. They would actually be pretty nice in here, so that's plenty of coverage. And I might get one other little tree over here, maybe just to kind of add a little bit of something, maybe just like right. I don't know if I like that one. Maybe just like that. It's probably fine. And then if I can get some cool bushes, like I got these bushes that I can kind of put in here. What's going on? Align to surface is on, so we can turn that off, and now we can put that wherever we please. Might even put a couple little bushes throughout here. And then maybe just below here as well. Let's maybe get some bracken. What does that look like? Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Let's get some of that as well. A little bit of bracken. Kind of around there. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So what else do they want? I could probably get them like some rocks in here. A common ash tree. I actually like that. I'd like to put something else over here though. Maybe kind of just like that to fill it in. Nice big tree there. Actually, I don't want to really block their view. Let's maybe put that right there. That actually looks pretty good. We also got... Wait, are these grapes? Common grapes. Yeah, let's get some grapes. We could probably eat those. And we got some white grapes that they could kind of just eat. Why not? Are grapes bad for deer? Who knows? I mean, it says they should be fine with it. Let's get a little bush right there. And these guys need some water, so I might actually get some dedicated water for them rather than their water thing. So let's actually grab this. Delete it. We have some protesting already. We got some protesting. But I think some water might be kind of nice. Just kind of littered throughout this. I'm not done yet, protesters. Cool your jets. Let's just get a little bit of water over here. Let's kind of see if that... Yeah, honestly, just like that. Just like... Imagine puddles kind of just built up in some spots. Like literally just like a little bit of water in a couple of these spots. I'm actually gonna push this down a little bit further. Okay, that's actually perfect. So a little bit of water's everywhere. Kind of like it just rained. That's actually really cool. So they might actually be protesting. Wait, where are these guys? Oh, they're protesting these guys. What's wrong with it? Is there something? Whoa, welfare. Whoa. Elderly and nutrition. Whoa. Okay, we need some food over here. Yikes. Yeah, they definitely need some food. That's probably part of the issue. What about these guys? Are they having food? They should just take care of it. I shouldn't have to really do that, which is interesting. These guys have food, so that's working. They're kind of slacking a little bit. Let's make sure that these guys are getting food as well. And we should have some water there. Okay. Let's see what else these guys need. So they're good for the coverage that they have. Enrichment. We definitely want some enrichment for them. Let's make sure European pellets. We got to get this little grazing thing. That is kind of a must. And I might put this like kind of overhanging there. Maybe a little ball for them to play with. And you got to get a scarecrow feeder. I think that would be good. They don't really want anything to climb, which is fair. They probably would like a little tree to maybe scratch on. Maybe just get them a little scratching tree. Maybe one back here as well. Just kind of fill in that area. Definitely got to get them a rubber ducky. Let's put their rubber ducky in their tub. Let's maybe lower that. So there we go. We got the rubber ducky. Maybe a soccer ball. Maybe I got to get a rubbing pad. Maybe put that in there. And that should be nice and happy for those guys. We got some fighting. We definitely got some fighting over here. Okay, so I finally got a nice clip there. So we got some fighting. They might have some babies, which will make even more deer. And look, they're kind of feeding out of this thing. It's kind of cool. Watch them feed out of this. That's actually so cool. This is like hay in there that they eat out of. Very, very cool. They might even eat the head. It's like a pumpkin or something. Oh, he's running. Gonna go get some water. Majestic animals. These are so cool. I'd love to see one of these in real life. We see a lot of white-tailed deer, mule deer around here, but nothing like this. Actually, it's very similar to this, but we also have elk and moose. So there's that. Okay. Very, very cool. These guys seem pretty happy with their enclosure. I think last but certainly not least, we have, let's go check out our last, oh my gosh, we still have these guys protesting. So hopefully we can squash that bug. We also need to get this set up, so let's maybe do that first. Let's get our donation bins around here, just in case they feel like donating. Maybe get a couple throughout here as well. Gotta get some garbages, just to keep our zoo nice and clean. Probably just put that right on the corner. Maybe some garbages right in here as well. Just nice and symmetrical. Okay, that should be just fine. And then we will obviously need to get these as well. Man, those protesters. What the heck? They do not like us. So let's get this set up. And let's set it to our deer just so we can duplicate that and then move this over. Let's just put that there. And then I could also put one over here. And I think once we get this exhibit set up, a lot more people will come over here. I think that'll be good. And before I forget, I want to get a bathroom over here. So let's go to here. I want to get just a common European small toilet. Just nice and simple. Let's just kind of put that kind of on an angle. Just like that. I think that's pretty cool. And then I'll put some trees throughout my park. But this is looking absolutely incredible right now. Let's head over to the wheel. Do our last spin just for the fun of it. We already know there's only one animal left. Here we have one last spin. Let's do the final spin. Let's find out what we end up getting. Probably a fire salamander if I were lucky. Yes, that is going to be a fire salamander. Let's head over to the game and see what those little guys look like. So they will be going in our little exhibit. So let's go to exhibit trading. And I imagine salamander. Yes, fire salamander. So that's exactly what we're looking for. These guys are incredibly cool. So this one costs 1,000. Gotta get that one. Hannah. Let's get Hannah. Let's adopt Hannah. And then we could probably get a male as well so they can breed a little bit maybe if they'd like. This is probably the next best one anyway, so let's get them. Do I have to send them to quarantine? I don't know if I need to. It's not really getting us the option to, so let's just do that. I guess what we could do is just send them right into our first habitat, and then I'm gonna have to fill this up a little bit. Let's get a couple other things, like maybe let's maybe go by like appeal. What's really cool? So we got these guys, which have really good appeal. Eastern brown snake. Got a couple of iguanas. So let's maybe get, yeah, let's get this thing. So it's just like basically huge. Let's adopt this one. Move that into this habitat. And then we'll get a couple more. Let's maybe get this guy. Oh, longevity isn't very good though. Let's get this turtle. That might be kind of cool. And then we can move him into there. That's actually pretty cool. We should be able to see him kind of floating around. And then we could also get a green iguana just to kind of round it off. So let's send that one into there. So now we can kind of get them set up. I'm just going to quickly get rid of these protesters because they're annoying the heck out of me. I think it just needs more food, so I'm going to get a couple more keepers maybe. Let's maybe do that, and then I can set them to our zoo. Yeah, for some reason this is just like, I might have to move it maybe. Let's see if we can just move this thing. Let's put it there and try that. Let's see if they end up putting food in that. Yeah, there we go. We finally got them to fill that up. Oh, thank goodness. So our protesters might actually leave, and all these guys are so hungry. We also need to fix this thing. Get a little bit of food in there. Oh my gosh, and our water. I completely forgot about that. Oh no, okay, we need to get, ooh, that's a problem. You guys are probably screaming at me on your phones. Water treatment. My gosh, we need some water treatment. So I might actually put this like right in the middle here. Is that crazy? We also have that water over there, so I might have to, yeah, this is probably the best place I can really put this. And then I'll just get rid of this garbage can. That's probably, yeah, I might just have to do that. And then I guess what I can do, that should immediately fix our water, I think. So cleanliness is going up. Yikes. Okay, so it's finally getting a little bit more clear. Oh, well, I think our protesters are finally heading home after they're breaking their vocal cords. Let's kind of just enclose this a little bit. And then I can kind of just all of this done. I can kind of just do that just to make it a little bit prettier. Something like that. Okay, that should be good. Nice and enclosed, a little bit prettier, but I have to put it there. And then we also need another water treatment thing for this. I guess we don't really need to have it just because it's actually clean anyway. So we might actually have had a water thing off of this. No, I guess it's kind of just naturally clean. I guess because they're not really drinking out of it is why. So that should be good. So let's go to this again. We should be keeping all this nice and clean now. So that should be excellent. And that was definitely the issue. It was just like kind of in the way. So keeper assigned, they will fix that. And now they just couldn't really get to it over here. Let's get these guys nice and happy. So let's go to our fire salamander. And unfortunately, you can't even actually see them in here, which is a little bit sad. Welfare, let's get these guys a little bit happier. Let's do layout. So let's get basically everything we can. And we got to get a mister for these guys. We can really just keep this whole place nice and moist. I don't know if I want all these. I like that log. That log is probably, let's actually get rid of that. Layout is 100%. Now let's set our climate. So temperature is good. We just need to adjust our humidity a little bit. So that seems to be in the range, 65%. That is just fine. And in fact, the OCD in me might have to make this perfect. 67, let's go 68, just to call that both. Right in the middle. Customize, we don't really do anything with that, so they should be nice and happy now. So that's exciting. Let's get these guys nice and happy now. Of course they're, wow, we just got guys everywhere. So a little bit of camouflage. Let's see what that looks like. We definitely want all the camouflage we can. Maybe a large rock. Yeah, that's actually really cool. And then maybe a couple of trees. I don't know if I like those. Let's kind of just go with that one. Our layout is now good. And now we can adjust our temperatures. So let's go maybe like a 23. That should be in the zone. Probably a 25. And then we'll adjust this to be about there. Let's actually do 26. They might be happy with. And then about a 74. Perfectly right in the middle. Those guys are nice and happy now. Let's keep going with our turtle. And we can adjust our... So we definitely need a basking lamp. A couple of large rocks. And honestly, I kind of just like throwing everything in here. Lots of trees. I might get rid of some of them that are kind of in the way. Let's just kind of do that one. That's probably fine. Nice layout. Temperature, let's set to about 26. And then about 70% humidity. Let's do about 27 actually. And about a 73k. That is looking perfect as well. That should keep the protesters away. What do you have to say now? What do you have to say now? So let's get a couple of trees in here. I'll actually get rid of that one. I love the rocks usually. Let's get maybe a low basking lamp. We kind of have that there, or we can have a high one. Or we can have a bunch of them. Let's maybe do... We want them to bask, maybe just right there. So let's just have our low one. I actually like that. And then we can keep that kind of empty. Let's adjust our temperature. This is a very specific one. Look how tiny that little needle is. Let's do about a 54%. And that is about as good as it gets. Let's do about 29 degrees and about 55 degrees. And call that good. Okay, that is looking a lot better. So now we have all of our exhibits kind of set up. I'm going to put some trees in here. I'm just going to throw a couple of trees around here. So I really love these, and I wouldn't mind having a few of those kind of around here. So I'm just going to put them wherever I think would be a good spot. Like I could probably put them kind of just in these areas. Over here, I'd like to have a different tree, and then maybe kind of, I'd like to have some of them kind of just throughout here. Maybe kind of just like that a little bit. Nothing too crazy though, like maybe one like right on the edge there. I definitely like them, but I'm not just like married to them. Let's maybe get a few like that, and maybe right on the edge there, kind of in the middle there. Let's take a look at our entire zoo and see what this kind of looks like. I am going to delete these paths just because they are kind of just the end of the whole zoo. So we can kind of just keep that open, or we can maybe do something with that. I'm not really sure. But this is looking pretty good. I'm going to get a couple other trees in here. So let's keep Europe temperate. That is great. I wouldn't mind like some kind of big common. That's actually kind of perfect. And then let's see if there's any other place I can maybe put a couple of trees. Maybe kind of just like that. Might be kind of cool. And what else could I really do? Honestly, I'm kind of just loving this. I might put a tree back here to kind of just finish this side off. Maybe a nice big elm tree or something like that. I feel like that looks pretty good. And then just to kind of finish off this side, I might just go a few of these in here. Just kind of like that, just to kind of put a little bit of an end to this. And in fact, this would be kind of cool. Let's put some of these, maybe just to kind of go right across. Okay, I think that should actually be pretty nice. Let's just take that right to there. Make sure this goes right to there. And ladies and gentlemen, I think I am officially done this park. This looks absolutely incredible. Honestly, one of my favorite ones that I've done. I love the European buildings. Love the European DLC. Like, honestly, I wish I had a little bit more animals to it. But honestly, very, very cool. Take a look at this. Like, such a cool food court. One of my favorite. Like, these buildings just make the entire place. If you guys want more of these Spin the Wheel DLC Planet Zoo videos, definitely leave a like for the video. I will keep them coming your way. I love making them for you guys. Again, subscribe to the channel to help me out, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.